back and kill the boss. Hi.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, Pepples. Jade, what's going on?
Hi, Paint Liquor and Jade.
What's going on, people?
Oh my goodness. Rancid Vomit. Hello.
I have started our discussion internally here today, talking about how much I hate Noida. Screw that game.
Oh my god.
I showed it who was boss yesterday. I didn't even play it. I didn't even start the game. Sometimes I'll start the game and stare at the loading screen and then turn it off. But that's when it knows it's got you.
Yeah, I was about to say that's when you know that you have an interesting relationship with a video game.
That's when you text the girl and they don't text you back, right? That's what happens when it's starting the game.
Yeah.
Like it's when hey what you doing? By text and they don't text you back, and so then the next day you're like, no really, what you doing?
The worst part is when they leave you on red.
On red. See?
Yeah.
That's exactly what that's like.
Yeah.
So I didn't even start it.
Yeah.
I showed it. I didn't even start that damn game. But as Jen was so kind to point out, I watched a lot of videos about the game. She walked in my office last night and I'm watching a guy play Noida. So I'm thinking about it, but I'm not. I didn't act on it.
Sounds
so
like you need.
I feel better about myself, but not really. If I was really doing it right, I would have just played the damn game. I have. Oh my god! It is so rage-inducing. It is nerd rage-inducing, that game. I have gotten so close to beating the game. I've gotten so close to beating the game 5 times. 5. How many times have I beat it?
0.
This many. 0. I have 0 wins. And now I'm up to like 200 deaths.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
And why do I have 0 wins? Because I get to the point where I should kill the boss. I should kill the boss and end it. But it seems like quitting.
No.
It seems
kill
like quitting.
The boss.
I know.
I'm gonna text you in the middle of the evening, every night until I hit you on the right day where you're right at the boss, and you get a text message from me going, "Kill the darn boss."
I've killed the boss 3 of those 5 times. Like I've killed the final boss 3 times out of those 5. The 2 that I didn't kill the boss, I died before I even got there. So the boss is not the problem. The problem is I kill the boss, and I'm like, ooh.
No.
Now that we've killed the boss, what we should really do is go to New Game Plus. Well, I haven't even ever got a win. To go to New Game Plus, probably not the right idea.
So the problem
is me.
Is you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's basically how this story ends.
I get it, though, because you're like...
Mo says because you're a bad player.
You're like 15 hours into a run,
oh.
And then you're like, but I don't want to just end it and then have to do it all again to do New Game Plus. I might as well just do New Game Plus.
Exactly, because I've got such a good wand, and I've got everything in place, and it feels so good playing the game because you're just this mass ball of destruction, you know? And what you don't realize is that, well, I've created that mass ball of destruction lots, because that's what the game is about, is create, and it's different every time. There's a new spell, a new way to kill everything. It feels so good, right? And don't clip that. And at the end of the day, you don't have any wins.
I think the thing you need to...
I actually have 5 wins right now. Well, okay, technically...
You don't have any wins.
2 of those were brutal. One of them was again getting sheeped out of nowhere. Like I had like 1,200 health, and all of a sudden I just died. Like I was just there was not an enemy on the screen. I had floated down from levitating and landed on the ground. Count 1, 2. I was gonna open my inventory. No enemies. Land on the ground. 1, 2. Boom! Dead from explosion. I floated down. I landed in polymorphine. Got sheeped, and underneath the polymorphine was a mine. That's how much this game just hates you. There's no enemies anywhere, but you just die. Because screw you, and you're feeling good about yourself. Right? That's what this game is. That's how you know we're living in a simulation, because this game is the AI. It just knows. Oh, Jason's having a good day. Watch this. Hold my beer. Watch this.
Oh my gosh.
Random pixel of acid. I died. It said died from explosion. Nothing anywhere mean. I had cleared the whole level. Hadn't felt more safe in the entire time I played the game. Dead. Dead. Blew up.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for that happening.
I just utter under my breath, I'm like, F this game.
I don't hear a lot of
No,
noise.
I don't scream and rage. I'm just like, F this game.
Yeah.
And I hit the exit button or I hit start new game. One of the two. Usually both are no good for me. There's not a good selection at the end of the game in that game. Because one of them is show the replay.
No.
No! Right? And the other ones are start a new game. I love how it says continue.
To continue to what?
Exactly.
Be dead?
It shows you the screen with your meat on the ground.
Continue to what? Be dead?
Yeah, exactly. It's horrible.
Oh my gosh.
Omicron, I was surprised my order was ready to go this morning by 9. Hey, we are fast.
When we're not in the middle of a product release or a brush restock, we get things ready pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Slayer Stream, what's going on? Panic Bomb. Glad I can still catch the full Tuesday and Thursday streams with your new schedule. Well, we're glad you get to hang with us, too. A little bit of Stockholm Syndrome there. I swear I'm not going to play it tonight.
He's going to play it.
He's gonna
Oh,
play
I
it
will
tonight.
play the hell out of it tonight.
He didn't play it yesterday, which means he's playing tonight.
Oh, I'm playing tonight.
He's playing tonight.
I showed it yesterday. It's going to know how to act tonight. You watch. I'm going to come in hell or high water tomorrow with a win. That might mean I have no sleep.
Oh, jeez.
Jen.
I don't know if we can handle that.
It's happening, Chad. This old man is beating Noida tonight.
Is he?
So I could cheat because I have a good seed. So don't clip that either. So she's looking at me because you don't know what I'm talking about. So a seed is the world generation number, and each world generation has a seed number, and you can. I have an app that or an add-on that lets you, when you found a good seed at the end of the game, you can hit the escape button. It shows you what seed you were playing. So if it had good stuff and the run was going good, you just got sheeped and licked by a frog. You can say, well, I want to play that one again. You can play that same world, and all of the RNG will be the same. You'll find the same stuff. You can play it a little differently and all that. So I found a good seed. I didn't
like
capture
cheating.
the seed for my best run, so I don't know what that one was. So that's
Sounds
lost
like
forever.
cheating to me.
Huh?
Sounds like cheating to me.
Well, it is a little cheating.
Yeah.
It is a little cheating.
Yeah, a little bit.
It is a little cheaty. But I think it still counts as a win. I need to look that up, though.
I would say fresh seed or nothing.
I got to RNG seed it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because I know that it would eat away at you. Because
Okay.
it would eat away at me.
Okay. All right, I'll just do it. What mech is this one?
Fresh seed.
It's these.
It's these.
I have no idea.
These are the mechs.
I don't know what this is. A gunslinger?
That's not Percival.
This is a
No, it is in fact not Percival.
We won't tell you what he said about Percival at the beginning of stream.
I don't know. I don't remember what this one's called. They're both assault mechs, but I don't remember what this other one's called.
Percival hurt his feelings last night.
Somebody else will have to tell me what this is. No, it's not a Night Star. I don't remember what this one's called.
They were drinking a beer and it didn't go
But
well.
I believe this is a gunslinger. And I don't know on that one. These are the mechs that came in the boxes of the mechs I wanted. Sagittaire, that's what it is. Stonewall knows it's a Sagittaire. I knew once I heard it, I would be like, I got it. It's not a mech I'm interested in, really. The Sagittaire is not a bad mech. It's just not a good mech.
It's not a bad mech, but it's not a good one.
Well, that's about 90% of the game, right? I feel like 90% of BattleTech is very milk toast, right?
Milk toast.
They all do the job fine.
Oh, okay.
There are some on the bottom end of the spectrum that are like, if you run that mech, you're going for memes. There's no reason to put yourself in that mech. It's horrible.
Yes.
Don't do it. And then there's god mechs on the other end that are like, oh, if you're playing that mech, you're a win at all costs type guy, right? So I like to play the meat in the middle. I feel like these are kind of... The Gunslinger's good. It just... I don't like playing big super duty mechs, and these are both pretty heavy duty mechs, so... There are some spicy later variants. Oh yeah, it's not really about that. It's really just that I like mechs that are kind of general all-arounders. They can get in close. I guess you'd call them strikers, right? Not brawlers. I think striker is the term they use in BattleTech that describes the mechs I like the most. They have like one long range system and then a bunch of in close stuff so that they can punch kind of above their weight. You know, they can
got
they
something
can do
to
some
close
damage
the
coming in, but
distance.
they're not snipers. They're not going to spend the whole game plinking you with 8 points of damage from a large laser.
That's probably my preference as well, to be honest.
But they're going to spit large lasers at you coming in so that you have to maneuver. Otherwise, you're going to take that 8 damage every time, you know? And then when they get in close, there's like 4 medium lasers, you know, and an SRM-6. Something like that. So that I have a good variety of punch across the game board. I don't play any mechs with like Gauss rifles. I don't do a lot of PPCs because of heat. So I like things that are like fairly heat controlled strikers. I think is the key for me, right? If you look at our regiment of battle mechs, that's kind of what it is. You need to find the BattleTech scene out here in Texas and get some games in. Oh man, it's easy. Chuck the Mead Man says, at least I'm not the only one suckered into painting tiny robots tonight. Panic Bomb, yes you do. We're going to start our campaign back up.
Oh,
Yeah, have we heard anything from Phil about that? By the
Yeah,
way?
well, he keeps saying we're going to start our campaign back up. So
and then doesn't.
Mo says if it's an option, it isn't cheating. I kind of like to think that way too, but my question for the thing is that I don't know if you win the game with mods on, does it count as an actual win? I think so, but I think it says mods on, so it can't be it has a thing that tells you whether or not you had any mods on, so it can't be entered for like speed run competitions and things, like if you're trying to get a world first and you can't have any mods on. So
sense.
I think you can still win. So you know, if time to get tough tonight, man, I'm gonna go back to that seed because that seed was fun to play too. It just felt good.
Yeah.
You got some good wands by like the 3rd biome, you know, and nothing over the top, no silly shenanigans, no healing vigor spell in the first holy mountain or anything. But it was a good run.
there's a painting question.
What?
I know.
We don't paint
We get
here.
those?
Yeah, from One Plus Saves. If someone was making a robot army with your patina bronze style you posted the other day, what would you think to complement it with?
Like color-wise? Oh, that's a good question. I think reds are really nice. Oranges are always going to look great with that kind of look, although the bronze kind of hits that a little bit. I think like warmer colors, like your oranges or your reds, are good options for that.
Yeah, because you're already kind of cool with the jade,
Right.
turquoisey kind of colors.
Right,
So
exactly.
purples work really well to offset it. You know, if you were talking about like for Necrons, the glow of the guns and everything could still be that bright yellow green that they use. That would work well because it's a warm color on the green spectrum, leaning into yellows. Blues would work really well too. You could just go all in and make the patinaed kind of copper or bronze the warm color and just cool it all down from there too. So it's like, you know, frozen Tomb World without everything being blue. There's lots of ways you can go. You know, really what you're trying to do in concept, if you want to take it to heart, is you really want to make sure that on every model you do, there's a sense of warmth and a sense of cool to balance it out. That doesn't mean red and blue or yellow, orange, and pale blue. It can be anything in the range. It just is the teeter-totter doesn't have to go fully one way and fully the other. It can like rest right in the middle, but it needs to have some sort of balance. You know, when we're dealing with stuff like Dante, right? We've got golds and reds that warm everything up, but I went cooler with the whites on the wing, with all the purples and jades and things there. And of course the lightning on the axe, the force axe, winds up being, you know, a cool tinge too. But, you know, you can get that balance in multiple ways to cool things off. So it doesn't have to be so dramatic. You know, you're not having to do super what people would register as a cool color, like blue. Like I said, like blue and orange, you know, together. Well, that's a really good way to do it. You know, you can have cool and warm on a model like this. You know,
Yeah.
but this is a paint job. This isn't intended to be a nuanced color like cool shadows, warm highlights from the sun. This is paint that would be on him orange and blue no matter what. And so you do the rest of it in other ways, like add more warmth with the magenta light from his whatever that power glaive thing is or whatever, right? So there's lots of different ways to do it. just be thinking in terms of every model you put the brush on, how are you going to balance that out? So if you're doing like Blood Angels, our Blood Angel shadows have got Payne's Gray because it's just a cooler shadow. And I chose to do the jump packs with blue and purple rather than like orange and yellow or something like that because I already have enough heat on this model. So how do you offset it?
Yeah, so, for example, these are not robots. But, like, I went...
Oh, it looks great with red, though.
With red, yeah. On mine.
Yeah, 1 plus white blue would work really well. Purples work great. Purple was what I was going to use on the Custodes, right? I think it was... Because I did the dirty penny Custodes that same way, right? So you add a little bit of copper and reddish into it so the metal itself stays fairly warm. It's not just the bronze. It has a little bit more warmth to it. And you get that verdigris feeling and nestled into the recesses. And then you could do like purple to offset it or something. The red looks fantastic. So
yeah, that's like pretty similar colors, right?
Yeah.
Just a little heavier.
A little bit more copper. So
yeah.
It's a little more brownish red.
Did you actually use copper in that mix?
A little bit, yeah.
Deathspawn said in 13 minutes, I'll also have a paint question.
In 13 minutes?
Yeah, that's very specific.
That is very specific.
When you get home? Are you driving home from work?
Oh, I guess that would make sense.
He was talking about glazing on Discord
earlier
today.
Yeah. All right. Oh, no, I was cleaning this just so you could use it.
Huh?
I was cleaning this up just so you could use it.
Which is which? Is this the 2? This is the 2. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's
Just give me like 10 seconds
okay,
to
cool.
finish putting it back together.
Cool. I just need to prime.
Yep.
But I mean, still, 13 minutes is very specific.
That's why we don't put timestamps on chat here, Tim. To us, it all happens simultaneously. But no, I will. I want to test out some product, show you guys some stuff.
There you go.
And then we'll get back to Birdman.
I've been
Matt
playing
E
with it a
is
lot
rating
lately.
with a party of 22. Thank
Whoa!
you for the raid.
Oh, Matt E, hello.
Welcome, everybody.
Matt Yee, what's going on?
Oh,
Good to see you.
You probably want this.
Oh yeah.
What
Stealing
is
my
that?
stuff.
I'm cleaning your stuff.
What is happening in that emote?
You're welcome. What's happening in that emote?
Yeah.
There's a pig. Oh no, it's not a
Oh,
pig.
it's
I got
it's
dabbing.
it's this.
oh,
It's the dab.
It's a
yeah.
little-
dabbing lamb.
Yeah, lamb. Okay. So from far away and very small, it looks a little inappropriate.
Matt Yee, how you doing? Welcome everybody.
John.
Welcome to Monument Hobbies, where we discuss everything from being mad at video games to painting Percival Chevalier the Fifth, first of his name, World Ender. That's what I've added today.
Or
Okay, I
being
like it.
stuck in scale jail.
Oh
Kicker-
yeah,
you
or
forgot
painting
kicker
50
of
million
shins.
scales. So,
Although
hi.
I am done with the scales.
So
I think.
hi. You believe it's a llama? Oh, is it a llama? It looks kind of like a sheep.
Oh,
Does
But
kinda
okay. Llama, I'll go for llama too. That's fine.
look- llama, sheep.
a llama, is it?
Matt Yee. Make sure, everybody, if you do not know Matt Yee, the fabulous, click on that man's name, give him a follow.
I don't know if it's a llama.
Monument
Do your job.
Do your job.
Do your damn job. Cookie Mandius, what's going on? Good to see you. Crypt Shadow.
How is everybody doing today? Did y'all have a good stream? Hopefully it went well. Cool stuff.
Lumberjack Tim watched your interview last night.
Did I succeed? That was a fun one. I like doing small channel interviews and stuff. They work really well.
Where was this? I didn't see
It was Joel Siptek. He comes and plays Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
He has his like a general gaming and hobby podcast that they do. I think it was like their
Oh, very
20 something episode or something
Yeah.
like that. He and his wife do it together.
Oh, very cool.
So, yeah, it's really neat.
I'm assuming they're local. Cause
Mo,
They're local.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in
Mo,
Glendale.
you've been here long enough to know that when Jason starts talking, he'll keep talking. We get to questions. It's okay. It's not.
Don't
Anything
apologize to
personal.
people like Mo. Mo, how many questions have I answered of yours over the million years we've known each other?
Hi, Mo.
Maybe I'm just putting you on the back burner. Give somebody else a chance.
Whoa.
He said, "How goes the brush manufacturing setup in the U.S.?" That's a great question. Actually, we had our brush maker master. I was told. I call it master brush maker, but in standard German, it's brush maker master.
Well, everything's a little backwards.
So I think he was thinking we were backwards. So I'm going to go with his.
Well, we are.
So,
yeah. So
we had Thomas, which if you were on stream that day, you got to meet him. Tomas
did he come
and
in?
Katrine were on
They
stream.
did.
Were they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was in the scale jail.
I brought Thomas and Katrine, his wife, his lovely wife, through the stream that day and introduced them. They were blown away that we do this 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Like when we were in the conference room and I was explaining to them, they were like, "So you do this show?" And we were talking like Bob Ross, and they were like, "And you do this when?" I go, "Every day." They go, "When?" And I go, "Well, it's going on right now." And they go, "No, but like when?" And I was like, "Right now." And they go, I think they didn't understand because I was sitting with them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, Jordan's in that room right there," because our conference room is right behind this wall across the hallway. And I was like, "No, you want to go see?" And she was like, she lit up. She was like, "Yes." And so we came in here, and of course they both just immediately walked over on camera.
Yeah,
they
had a
looked
great
at the
time.
miniatures and all that stuff. It was fun. So it was great.
So good.
It was cool. I think it was because they do a lot of other stuff for like not necessarily what we do specifically. We're like a smaller.
Well, you can imagine as brush makers, they make brushes for art industry, and
Right,
so their
exactly.
their life is generally fine art. They
Yeah,
only
exactly.
have like one other company that they worked with that did stuff in like scale modeling, you know. And so it's fun to watch them as they look at it. Crypt Shadow, you love the owl. This is Percival Chevalier the Fifth, first of his name, World Ender. I have to do it in that voice.
Heel kicker.
Kicker of shins.
Kicker of shins.
Kicker of shins.
Biter of ankles.
Biter of ankles.
Keep your Achilles well protected.
Yeah.
Because he has a letter opener, and he's not afraid to use it. This model, okay, so the picture of this model was on an 8-foot tall banner, 6-foot tall banner.
Like huge.
Yeah, it was
gigantic.
like a big banner at Gen Con.
Just staring us in the face.
From Hit Point Press. So Hit Point Press, I think they do RPG supplements and things like that for D&D 5th edition or whatever. They were across and catty corner to us on the aisle at Gen Con. So our booth and everything. And every time I get a chance to look up and peruse, the people in front of us across the aisle were very boring. Their game was very boring. They didn't have a lot of cool graphics or anything, so it was nothing to look at there. So I'm always looking here and here, and I can't remember what these people are, but here was a 6-foot or 8-foot tall banner of some other bird wizard and Percival Chevalier the Fifth, first of his name, World Ender, Biter of Ankles,
Of
Kicker
which
of Shin.
they had a life-size.
Yeah, they had like a
replica.
life-size foam cutout or something like that of him, which by life-size it was like 18 inches tall. But so the fact that I sat there for the entirety of Gen Con staring across the aisle at the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life other than my dog and Jen, right, is this little owl warrior knight, right? And on this banner, and I'm like, dude, I wish they had a miniature of that. And so Gabe comes back over and goes, "They do." And he shows me the box with this miniature in it, and I said, "They better have more, damn it." And I immediately left the booth, went over there, bought the box, don't care about the other 4 models in it, somebody else can have those, but I got this guy. This, right here, this guy, right here, is my favorite model of all time. Period. No, not even a question. This is my favorite model of all time.
Can I go see the rest of the box?
This the same guys that do the cats? I don't know. Do they? Everything was like bird oriented at this show. They might do cats too, but I don't know.
Do you have
Right,
the
Wad,
rest
the
of models in
dog
the
came
box?
before me. That's fine.
Jen got
fine.
named second.
After the dog. So, in return for that, I'm going to tell you that Lumberjack Tim said I put the podcast on to fall asleep, and it was a success.
Oh, dang.
I was going to let that go.
So, let me tell you a story
but you
about
said the
Tim.
dog first.
Let me tell you about a story about Tim. Tim's pissed off because he got laser eyes, and they don't actually shoot lasers. So he's been a grump the last 2 weeks.
Griff Shadow said, sorry, but the owl is greater than the snake lady.
That's okay.
You can't beat the
Can't
cute.
beat
That's the thing,
cuteness.
right? Is it
it's
like I'm not a
okay to
cute
be
model
wrong.
guy? Like I literally, normally I reserve that. Like when I fight cute models, I show them to Jen anything I think is cute, and I go, "Would you like
Yeah.
to paint this?" Because I get so excited when she finds something she likes. And so, but this model, I didn't want to share it. Nobody can touch this model. Like this is mine. I'm like, I'm painting the hell out of Percival Chevalier, the fifth first of his name, biter of ankles, kicker of shins, destroyer of worlds.
Oh, I painted a little
Right.
baby J on there.
But yeah, it's an amazing model. It's as big as my thumb. Not even
It's
from like
huge.
the final knuckle of my thumb. He's super tiny, and I think that's part of why I really like it because we paint a lot of big models around here. And this one, every brushstroke makes a difference because he's super tiny. But it's just been fun. And how do you can't ignore that face? It's like pleading cuteness. And so the story that we've written is that he is a complete drunken, cursing, foul-mouthed. Like he picks up like cigarette butts out of the swill on the table, and that's what he smokes. And he collects all the like the last remnants of drinks in the bar at night and pours them into his potion flask for when he's on adventures. He's an absolute turd of a being. But then you have this, right? So that's a story.
Yeah.
You'd paint a figure of me?
Well, we have
There is one.
3D printed faces.
There is one. There's a 3D printed version of me that has me in shorts and a t-shirt with a potion bottle and something else that I painted with my tattoos on the arms. Remember that little one?
Yeah, that's not the one that we had made at LVO by Dad's.
Yeah,
Armies.
he made a figure of you as like an assassin, and he made a figure of me as like me.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I don't know where those are, but there are two of those.
Are.
Yeah,
But
the
then
rest
there-
of them were just heads that we
there's
could put
some
on
just
other
heads,
models. But
yeah.
he made two models that were us, full body. So
It's out there. It exists. Well, it's not out
exists.
there. It's in here somewhere.
Do you have the rest of the box of all the minis in your office, Jason?
yeah.
Can I go grab them?
Oh yeah, sure.
Where are they at?
I don't know.
Okay.
You'll see 'em. The box isn't there. I think I threw the box away because I cut a picture out of it.
Oh, okay.
But the thing with the plastic with the models is
They're
there.
all birds.
You found the artist, but not the model, Lennart Berger. Oh, he's the artist for this guy? It's great. It's great. The sculpt was a little weird, like all of the feathers on the front underneath the beak don't exist. That's just flat plastic, so I had to do the textured paint for those feathers fake. Same with a little bit up on the forehead. But all of the feather texture around his eyes is baked into the sculpt. So it's a really neat model. It's been really fun to paint. If you like tiny, cute things, it's great.
You're totally right.
Humblewood, yeah, Crystal Crypt Shadow. It's Humblewood.
The one that you have is actually just cooler than all the rest of them by like.
Yeah.
The other ones are really neat, but not the same vein.
Yeah,
T-Schmidt.
it's like a totally different stylistic type of miniature.
Well, I think it's just because the owl is just like this pudgy version of cute.
Yeah.
I think that when you put them all together, they actually all fit for what the birds
They're
they
probably-
are.
yeah, for
but none of them
birds.
feel as cute as this guy.
For
The other ones are
bird-
just birds.
For being birds, they're pretty fun.
Yeah, the rooster druid is fun,
Rooster Druid.
right? But for different reasons. Only because the anthropomorphic rooster is kind of cool. I do like the crow, that guy,
This
the
guy's
raven, like wizard. That one's cool. It'd be fun to paint, but not the same way this guy is. It's the cuteness. This guy's cute factor is on overload mode. The rest of them are just like, yeah, birds, whatever.
Yeah, birds. Bleh.
Yeah, I agree. I was hoping they'd be a little bit more like cartoony, exaggerated features like that one.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you look at him, the rest of his features are pretty tame, right? I guess the sword's a little funky. But the rest of it's just, I don't know, it's just the stature and everything fits. Like, it just makes this a totally different type of deal than the rest of them. Wad says, funny thing about Baby J's model, it's called the sacrifice. Most people assume the lady is the sacrifice. No, it's the snake is sacrificing.
You got to read the rest of it.
Oh, it's the painter's sanity that's a sacrifice
you
as
can't
they try to
stop
paint
there.
all
You
the
got the
scales.
rest of it's the best part.
Yeah.
I think it's that the paint is sacrificing it, or the snake is
painter.
sacrificing itself by standing in way of all the arrows, right?
Yeah.
Or is the sacrifice whatever is inside the snake?
Maybe because it looks like the snake ate.
That snake for sure has eaten something recently.
There's
It ate
like
some.
there's like a body in there. That's where you hide the bodies.
And
Inside that snake.
T. Schmidt, thank you so much. That was a wonderful surprise. So adorable. Mo, I posted a picture of it in Discord. T. Schmidt sent me the model that he painted from last August's Discord challenge, which was, I picked the theme of cute and colorful, and that was his submission, which was one of the winners from that month.
Yep.
And he sent it to me, and now it's sitting on my desk right in front of me, and
She
I get to
loves
see it all day. It's so cute.
Absolutely loves it.
So here's a good question. You think I can get this done by next week?
That?
Yeah.
Sure.
Here's the question: what else needs to be done on it? It looks great.
The hair. There's a little bit of love that still needs to be paid attention to the snake. Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
The arrows need to be done. Her like whatever the heck she's wearing on her waist needs to be painted. The base needs to be painted. Her hair needs to be painted.
But none of that is going to take as much time as the scales.
No, most certainly not. I can definitely get it done.
It's only Tuesday. You're trying to finish it before you leave? Yeah.
To take to Nova.
Want to have it done for Nova, and then I want to have something prepped and like started a little bit to take to paint while I'm there. Just to have a couple of things to work on. Because I'm thinking about taking a break from her today. Because scale jail is a real thing.
You're not allowed to take a break every time I take a break. I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break from taking my
Jordan,
break.
you could take a break. You don't need to paint that today if you don't want to paint that today.
I'm in scale jail.
She is too easy on you. Jen over there trying to be nice.
I was going to paint this guy. But then I realized this guy has a gajillion things on him.
Yeah, this does appear to have a lot going on.
Yeah, I was like, oh, right, this is a War Machine model, and they have a freaking gajillion things on them.
Boy, did they go overboard.
A lot of edges. And
I think it became worse when they allowed them to 3D print their models. Because now they don't even have to worry about making the mold work.
Yep.
There's no undercut problems with 3D printing. You can just print them all in one piece, and they can have as much junk on them as you want.
It's true.
Freedom! It's not what you can, it's what you should do.
Crypt Shadow, are you asking about the one that Jordan's got right now?
Missed
You
a
said War
couple of
Machine?
spots. It is a War Machine Mark IV miniature.
There you go.
The Privateer Press guys were nice enough to come by and drop some amazing stuff on us. I got the Troll Blood box. It's not called. It's called Rhyme Blood something or others.
Brine Blood.
Raiders or
Yeah, something like that.
something like that. It's all trolls with like a pirate theme. Is there one of their big like box set releases has a whole army in a box, and supposedly the points work out right for Mark IV, and
Yeah. I did a little
they're
bit
actually playable, whereas a lot of times you get a box of an army and like half of it's usable and half of it you kind of don't ever build, and you go supplement it with other stuff. They're saying they spent a lot of time making sure that the box sets are playable and actually
They
feel
are.
good on the table and all that stuff.
I did a little bit of like math because I was curious. Because they do have a really nice army builder, which is nice to see, because a lot of other games don't. And yeah, Charles was right. It is all the stuff from each of the starters, plus Magnus and Invictus, which is this freaking gigantic
Trolls didn't have a separate box.
thingamabob.
Is Magnus a mercenary? Still?
Yeah. So he is a warcaster that you can take to lead a mercenary army, but he is also a solo that has a warjack attached. So these two things combined equal all the things you would ever need.
Quick lesson in priming going on over here. First layer should not cover up all of the color of the model. You still got a lot of gray showing through here. Just give it some bite get a little thin dusting of color on the model. Then as I go through on my second layer starting now, I start to block all that in, where we'll start to turn the model black in this case, because that's the color primer I'm using. But still more of a light feathering. You'll notice I don't ever really pool up a lot of moisture on the model like a rattle can prime would. Just want to go light. You don't have to wait. It doesn't take a lot of time. By the time you're done with one pass on the model, it's generally dry enough to hit it with the next pass, so on and so forth. So you just don't want to hammer the trigger back and blast primer all over the model. The primer won't dry all the way through. You're basically applying 3 layers that don't now have a chance to dry layer by layer if you just blast a lot of primer on there.
Okay, Death Spawn, it's been 13 minutes, so we have his questions. It's probably been longer than that because they scrolled away. 2 questions. Do the synthetic brushes hold a point for a long time? And 2, can you go over the thinning we discussed on Discord?
Yeah. I think Despawn, somebody linked my video on YouTube about how I thin for painting miniatures. So that's your go-to Bible of what I'm about to go over with you again. All right? So good. I had just enough primer for that. We're going to set him aside while that dries, and then we'll pick up another model and talk about it. Do you have the clean out stuff over there?
Yeah, I do.
The biggest thing is there is for glazing or layering, filtering I call it, any type of painting where you want a lower opacity out of the color on your brush so that you can blend it with the layer you just put down, you're going to have to thin, right? No matter if it's our transparent paints that already have a low opacity to them, or opaque paints, or something that says it's a glaze right out of the bottle, chances are you're still going to want to add some moisture to that paint to thin it. Now, let's talk about what thinning is. Let's make sure we're all coming from the same understanding of wording right before I jump into this, because thinning can be multiple things. 2 things in exact for when we're talking about acrylic paint. One of them is thinning for viscosity, right? So you want the paint to be more runny if it's too thick. People that use artist acrylics out of a tube, that's what their main goal with thinning right away is to thin so it turns more into a fluid paint, right? When you already start with a fluid paint like Pro Acryl, it's really a matter of reducing opacity. So when we talk about thinning in the case that we're doing now, we're talking about opacity. Now, can you thin for opacity without also thinning viscosity? And the answer is yes. You add a clear medium that is as thick as the paint is to the paint so that the paint overall stays thicker, right? But by adding a clear paint to a not clear paint, you spread the pigment out further, okay? Make sure I get all the primer out of that. So let's talk about this. Let me grab a magic card here.
You want to go full screen for this?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
If we could. I probably don't have a magic card with enough space on it. Oh, I actually do. I actually have the card where I've talked about this before. That probably needs to be redone. Okay, so I want somebody who's been here for a long time to tell the class how many times I've said we need to buy new cards.
I can't find them.
Ooh.
Can you make that happen?
Ooh.
Jen and I are horrible at it.
Yes.
5x7s.
5x7s?
We need these
Gotcha.
cards.
Do you have an extra one that I can hold on to?
They're all right there.
Okay.
You can just grab them. All right. Because every time Jen and I look, it's like they're like $80 or something. And
$80?
Yeah, they have to come from like China. And I'm like, it's just paper. What the hell's going on? Nobody uses 5x7 blank cards for anything? I can't remember right.
Well, what kind of cards are they? Are they just
They're
like sheets of...
like recipe cards.
Okay.
They just don't have lines on them, right?
So you
Okay.
don't want lines.
So let's consider that when we start with paint, I'm going to make this more uniform than it probably is chemically, right? When we start with paint, we have pigmentation that hangs in the suspension like this, okay? So this is the molecules of paint, and they're all bonded together, hanging in this web of medium, right? that creates a net, we'll call it, where all of these kind of interlink together, right? You get the drift, right? So this, as the medium, as the water that's in this concoction evaporates, it causes these bonds to polymerize that creates the acrylic, the plastic, right? That evaporation creates heat. That heat, however minimal, polymerizes the urethane and winds up creating plastic, which is the acrylic paint coverage. So these pigments need to be close enough together so that you can't see in between them, so on and so forth, right? As we thin with water or medium or anything clear, right, that doesn't add more pigment to the deal, what we do is we start spreading out the pigment. We don't eliminate any of it, but I'm going to erase some of these to give you an idea of what's happening here, right, as we thin. I'll erase like every other one of these too. All right, so you can imagine if we put a bunch of water into our paint that used to have the pigment really close, now we're looking at something like this in the same space, that now there's only these 6 pigment flakes in the same area. The rest of them have washed out like this. They've spread out. They're still there, right? We haven't deleted anything, but we've broadened the net as we've gone, right? And these bonds, or these areas between pigments, are now much larger, right? So same amount of pigment, it's just spread further apart. So what that means is I can now see between these pigments, right? Here's a piece of red, here's a piece of red, here's a piece of red, but now I can see in between them. And so if I'm putting it over a blue, now I see the piece of blue that shines through this little window that's made by all the clear space that we inserted by thinning the paint. Make sense? So now I'm seeing whatever was beneath the red, whereas before I didn't. So the more you thin, the broader this space between pigment gets, the more of the other things you see that you lay it on top of. That's how thinning works for opacity. So now the choice you have to make is use something like our glaze wash medium, right? Well, that's gloss varnish. That would also work though. But glaze wash medium is thicker in most cases than our standard liquid paints, right? It's not very watery. Just put a little bit out here on my finger so you can see. Right? Boom. Right? Like paint. So by adding something that's as thick or similarly thick to paint, right, it's going to still spread so we can see through the pigmentation and lower the opacity, but it's not going to change the viscosity. It's still going to move like paint moves. So when I take this medium and start spreading it around, you'll see very quickly it moves like paint moves, right? You'll see it bunch up, right? It doesn't just flow all over my finger, right? And I can spread it out nice and thin and even, however I like, okay? But it feels like paint, so it feels comfortable to use. So if you add that to the paint to thin, then as you thin, it's going to move around the model like the paint normally would. You're just going to see through the paint more. That's where I tell people to go most of the time when they're learning how to glaze and getting comfortable with moving paint around. Let's find a model I can do. Right. Big, white, primed dude. Okay. Let's just get a dark yellow green here. I'm just going to grab some opaque paint, dark yellow green. Okay. If I just take my brush with very little moisture on it at all and come in here and paint over the top of this white, I'm going to cover that white entirely, right? Or as much as the particular pigment that I'm using can, right? So you'll see a little bit of the white as I move the paint around, but I'm going to get a good coverage of this color on here. Right? Make sense? Now, if I take more moisture, so now I go and I clean my brush and I bring it back here, and this is all the water this brush can hold. I haven't wiped it off on anything yet, right? So this is a number 4 brush. It can hold a lot of water. You'll notice like it'll put a whole droplet out just by barely touching my hand. Then I'll go back over to my droplet of paint and pull some pigment out. Now I have pigment that looks like this. Very, very thin, but still has that yellowy green to it. But what I want to do, if I just go touch the model like this, right? I'll have all that water. See how that does? It beads up real quick. So if I touch it, it starts pooling and drawing together. The surface tension is drawing all the pigment down to the bottom there. So it gets that blend, but that'll look like a coffee stain if we just let it dry. Right? Washes do that. Having too much moisture will do that. So what you find yourself doing is I'm going to have to push that around. Well, look at how that paint kind of pills up everywhere as I do that, right? It gathers because of the surface tension of all that water. The pigment gathers where the water wants to pull together and bead up, right? So now I'm not going to get a very even distribution of pigment across this because there's too much liquid. And so when this dries, my pigment is going to be clumped up in these spots, right? You can see it's kind of like there. I call that cloudiness, right? And no matter what I do, trying to drag that cloudiness around, it'll still create more cloudiness until water starts to evaporate out of this and it loses moisture by just virtue of natural evaporation. But I still have too much water on my brush. So this is a really bad way to paint, right? There's not many times where I would say you do this unless you're just slopping wash on to a model, because it's going to look real uneven. And that unevenness is going to cause physical pigment to clump up in these areas. And as it dries, and then you put another layer over this where that physical pigment is too wet and it starts to clump, eventually those clumps have a physical texture on the model and you get graininess. Doesn't matter what the color is, doesn't matter what the paint is. It generally will happen more and be more recognizable with ultra matte paints like Acryl, because the matting agent in the paint is also a physical component that's clumping up with the pigment, okay? So, but in general sense, you don't want to do that. So instead, here's that same amount of water on my brush, see? Go over, still get, because I want that kind of opacity maybe, still go over and get the paint out, right? So now I'm loaded up again, still the same opacity, but here, watch on my thumb palette, I'll take all of it off, right? I'll just wipe it all off on my hand, pretty much, right? Then when I come over here, I no longer have the problem of that big clump of water, right? And I just start getting pigment, right? I'm not having to push a big pool of pigment around. I now have a more even distribution of it, right? So I'm just starting to barely hint on that arm and turning it that color. And then I can recreate that as many times as I need to. But again, each time, get rid of most of the moisture on my brush. And the bigger the brush, the more moisture it's going to contain, right? And then you just keep coming over here and lightly glaze over the top of that. And you just build your color up however fast you want to. Now, when you go ultra thin like what I'm showing here, it's going to take you a bunch of tries to get this color to sit in, especially on a white primer, right? So you would do more paint, less moisture at that time, so that I get something more akin to this. Right? Then when I come down here, I'm going to get more color. Now this is also on the top of GW, whatever it's called, Corax white primer. So I got to fight the waxiness of it just a bit, but I can get it to work. Right. Now I get a pretty even distribution of pigment. It's not being cloudy, and I just need to push it around the area until I'm happy. Working it towards edges. You don't ever want to leave an open edge when blending like this. Like if you leave a spot like this. See it? Perfect example. Where I did it across the belly. See how this edge, I didn't paint all the way to this natural stop for his belly, which is up here. Right? I left this open. That stain is going to be hard to get rid of because now it has pigment that built up along the edge of that pool of water, right? So I might be able to kind of scrub my brush to get that edge to go away if I'm lucky, but generally not. So now when I paint back, it's going to have that line, that crack line there, right? So always make sure when you are glazing that you divide your model up into smaller sections as you complete it. Like to do this stomach, I would have had to have glazed from this love handle and rib cage all the way over in one go, or be very quick with it because it doesn't have any natural break points along this surface. Okay. Moo, what are you talking about? You would love to see a Acryl scale?
Yeah, I didn't
What does that mean?
understand that either.
And yes, there is a matte varnish galation. you know. So again, doing a dark color over white gives you a really good representation of what you can do, right? You can see that even though I have the cloudiness here, right, we can glaze, and then once you have that set up and you go back and do it right with less moisture, right, taking most of the paint off the brush, which seems wasteful. This is very counter to what people want to do. And then you can come in and you start layering up and you get darker colors. You can layer in your shadows, build up your color, whatever you're really trying to do. But now when you're not pushing all that paint around and having to find a place, every brushstroke matters. Every brushstroke gives me really good color content, right, and doesn't cause me big pooling issues because all that water is now on my skin over here or your paper towel or whatever, as opposed to causing dark spots all over this. And eventually you can clean up. So your first layer can be a little rough, and then you can clean it up. It's just a fight, right? So for the nice layer consistency, would you just add a touch of water from your brush, or would it work just using out of the wet palette? Either. I don't want to recommend using a lot of water unless you want it ultra thin, right? So in the video, I talk about the fact that if I'm going ultra thin, you can use all the water the brush will hold. This is number 4. I probably never use this much water for anything. That's going to give you so thin of a paint that, you know, it's like what we did first. It's going to be all over the place, right? So what I'll do is I'll take that and I'll wipe it once on my paper towel. Now it still has a lot of water in there, right? It still will leave wet on my skin, if you can see that. And then I go over to my paint droplet, and if I pull a palette over here, where is the other white plastic palette? You have it over there?
White plastic palette?
Yeah, there's 2
I don't know.
acrylic palettes.
What? It might be over here somewhere. Hold on. Let me look.
Or do we have the palette paper here?
Yes, it's in.
Oh, no. Yeah, I just need something to show this. I can just pull my glass palette over. It just mine's a mess. So.
I don't know where. Oh, here's mine. Over here.
Nah, don't worry about it now.
Oh, you already pulled it.
So let me set up a new droplet of paint. I can show you how I do this. Again, the video on YouTube shows all of this specifically. So the link's up on our Discord. Somebody posted it today. But just to give you a rundown here. Let me show you my water cup. Right? Paper towel. Palette. That's all I use. Dry palette. That's all I use, right? So I come in here, and first off, when you're rinsing your brush, you don't ever shove the brush all the way down. I'm going to do it just to show you what not to do. Don't put your brush in water like this, ever, people. Just don't do it. I don't care what people have shown you. Don't do that, right? You never want water entering the ferrule from this side, ever. If you want to take care of your brush and have your brush last a long time, don't let that happen. There is nothing that waterproofs the wood from this area, and the wood, when the water seeps through the crimp, it loosens the ferrule over time because that wood will shrink, right, and expand as it gets wet and dries. Right, so always do it like this, and try not to insert your brush into water further than about 1/4 of an inch past the ferrule. Just don't get lazy, right? So you'll see me, I'll squib my brush kind of up against the sidewall here at an angle and rotate it. That'll clean the brush out, right? Then I've got all this water on the brush. So with all this water on the brush, I don't ever do this. I don't ever squeegee my brush on the side here. I never flick my brush against the side. Really, the only thing that happens is as I bring it up, it kind of flicks on that edge right there. But however much water's in the brush is however much comes out all the time.
Hey, can I interject really quick just to make sure that you saw this question from Despon? It says, so for just a nice layer consistency, would you just add a touch of water from your...
That's what I'm talking about
okay.
right now.
Okay,
That's the one I read.
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
So when you go through and have as much water as the brush will hold, then you come through and you decide, like, that's a lot of water because it's a number 4, like I said. It's probably too much. But let's just work with it, right? So it's going to be ultra thin. When you go to your paint droplet, don't shove the brush into the droplet of paint. You don't want to spread the droplet out and try to make a glaze on your palette. Wrong. What you want to do is pull a tail of paint out away from that droplet. Okay? So I still have the base paint that I can always work with. This is not thinned. It's still full paint. But this tail is now thin. So now I have a pool of glaze that I've just pulled out. This paint will run into this water to try to saturate it as much as possible. Right? But I can still pull a little bit from the edge of the paint droplet down here to get the consistency right. With a full brush load of water on a 4, this is, no matter what I do, this is going to be really thin. Unless I mix it in the whole thing, right? So then when I come over here, you're talking about very, very thin glaze. That might be perfect for what you're doing. right? Again, take all of that moisture off,
Huzzah, huzzah.
right?
I'll just throw
And
back
then you
my
come over to your
legs
model
pollute my
and
britches
do
with
your
delight.
painting, right?
Dodgehall, thank you so much for that reset. That's 45
Start putting
months.
the color on wherever you like it. Okay? Bingo.
That's a big one.
Now let's say you didn't want it that thin. You want it a little bit thicker for better coverage. More opacity, but you can still see through it. So I'll come over here and clean my brush the same way. Same amount of water, but now I'll hit it on the paper towel once. Now when I come over here, and I'll pull a different leg out of the paint, so it's thinned differently over here, right? Now when I come over here, you'll notice, aha, more color, right? Then you can take that, paint that way. It gives you more opacity. You can then come over here, rinse your brush out, same amount of water, once, twice, pull another tail out. So now I have 3 consistencies of this paint on my palette, right? Then I come over here, and now you can see I have even more opacity because I've gotten rid of more water, but it's still holding moisture in there, right? And now you can come over here, and now this pass will cover up a whole lot more than the other ones did. Still see-through, though. All of this is technically glaze. It's just different levels of moisture on my brush as I do it. Right? Always work my paint towards a good edge so I don't leave it cloudy out in the middle. Right? Boom, I can continue to darken this belly up for however long I need to. And then last but not least, pull it out, however much water it is, and 1, 2, 3, maybe more to get it more dry. And then eventually that's when I'm here, right? And I'm doing details, textures. Maybe I'm making texture marks, hash marks. Maybe I'm base layering, whatever it is. Now I've got more paint on here to the point to where eventually you're just using the brush with very little moisture at all for full opacity. So everything from nothing to a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, full opacity. And it's all based on the moisture on my brush. I never added water to this droplet. I never changed the paint coming out of the bottle with anything other than the moisture on my brush. And that's how I paint 100% of my models. Never will you see me, unless I'm mixing a glaze in a cup, right, with an opaque color and the glaze medium, right, will I ever just mix something specific like this. I always just use the paint straight off of my palette like you see here. And you'll notice that each one of these is just a droplet with a bunch of angular pulls out of it as I grab the edge of the droplet and add a little bit of water to get the consistency I need, right? And that's the way I paint. And it is something that will help you with your painting, regardless of what you want your ultimate style to look like, is to get good at controlling the moisture on your brush in a way that allows you to be comfortable thinning the paint with nothing more than your brush and a pool of normal paint. If you have a wet palette, make sure your wet palette stays fairly dry on the top layer of the paper. You want the sponge to be sitting in water. You do not want the paper to be wet to the touch. If the paper is wet to the touch, what your wet palette is doing is thinning your paint. Period. It may not thin other brands of paint the same way it thins Acryl, because our paint doesn't need as much thinning to do the work you want it to do, as I just showed you, right? So that's why people will say, hey, Acryl doesn't like wet palettes. It does, it's fine. It's just don't overload your wet palette with too much moisture. Other paints, because you have to thin them down so much to get easy blending done and to get them to lay smooth, our paint does that naturally out of the bottle. So you don't have to do all that fiddling with the paint to make our paint good. It just is good, right? And that may be, it sounds like marketing because we make it. Of course we want to sell it. That's great. It's the truth. I've been painting for over 45 years. I wanted a paint that just worked. Now you have it, okay? So you don't have to fiddle with it much, but you can. Like I showed you, you can make it as thin as you want and still hold the pigment together, right? You can still get good glazing and color of it. If you to put this kind of color over a white base is a little absurd, right? But it still works really well, right? It doesn't break up, it doesn't move around. It's great. So you can do whatever you want, right? It just has to match, number one, your confidence and your skill level to be able to pull it off. But the real skill there is controlling the moisture on your brush. A lot of people will dip their brush into water and not know that they're using like a number 3 or a number 4 or number 2, and each one of those brushes contains a different, it will hold a different amount of water. So if you just grab a different brush, which most of us do, and get it wet and wipe it on your paper towel the way you wiped your smaller brush on the paper towel, it will be wetter than your smaller brush, right? And it will paint differently because of that. So brush size matters. And you have to make sure that as you go to a bigger brush, you wick it more times, whether on your thumb palette like I do, or your paper towel. you need to get more moisture off of a bigger brush to have it do the same job. So be cognizant of that. But it's all the same thing, right? It's all just controlling the water. So I hope that helps.
With Jason.
Paper towel is pretty important. The paper towel is really, you know, it's really just what you wick the water off of as you clean it, right? I know mine has paint on it, but that's the paint from cleaning. That's not the paint from wicking moisture off before I go to the model, right? So I'm always touching the paper towel before I put the paint in, or the brush into the paint, is important to note, right? So this paint is the last paint I used, not the paint I'm about to use. Does that make sense? Does that sound right?
Makes
when
sense.
I say it like that way? You know, this is the cleaning pad.
Yes.
You're
Right?
not. Yeah.
So this
That
is the
makes
paint that I'm cleaning off of the brush as I'm getting the moisture right? Not the paint that I'm going to put on the model, okay? So a lot of people will use the paper towel in place of the thumb palette or whatever. Just be careful, because this will draw a lot of paint off of your brush. It can still work. Just be careful that, you know, you see me come over here and hit on my thumb palette like 5 or 6 times before I go to the model. You won't hit the paper towel 5 or 6 times. You will have a dry brush. You'll be dry brushing if you do that. So just be aware that your situation and what you find that you like, you'll have to do something slightly different than what you see me or Jordan do on the show to fit your own needs. But it gives you the principal concept that you can adapt however you want based on your brush, so on and so forth. There was another question in there about synthetic versus sable. Right?
I don't know if it was a question. It was. Oh yeah.
Can
It
synthetic
was
brushes
the
hold a point?
How long will the synthetic brush hold its point? I think was the other.
We talk about that all the time, and a synthetic can hold its point as long as you take care of it.
And do they
synthetics,
Do they hold a point for a long time?
Yeah, I mean, I've been painting with this number 2 for a long time, and it's done the entirety of like 3 or 4 of the last bottles we've painted, right? And it, you know, I do a lot of like small textures and, you know, pixel, what am I saying? Pointing, you know, pointillism on it, stippling, and it holds and doesn't blunt, you know. But we talk about it all the time. I will constantly be rotating my brush as I paint. So I'll do, you know, 1, 2, 3 brush strokes to get the paint where I need it, and then I'll rotate 90 degrees. I call this like chiseling your brush. I don't know where. Let's do it with a bigger brush so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. That just comes from my metalworking, right? Because I've used chisels and wood and metal forever. So whenever you point your brush, so you have a brush with a nice point on it, and then you go paint. After you've pulled a couple of brush strokes, the brush will start to flatten out. And I call that chisel shape, depending on how hard you press. If you have a heavy hand, it can happen in one brush stroke. See how it flattens out? Right? So now I have a brush that is no longer holding a point this way, but believe it or not, it holds a point great this way, because you've made a chisel shape. You flattened it out into like a cat tongue, right? And so as you paint, you might say, okay, well, I have this is my sharp side, so I'm going to do my texture with the sharp side. And I have a light hand, so I come in and I do my texture lines like this. And then after I've done a little bit, I start to notice that it flattens out, and I rotate it 90 degrees to find my point again. And then I follow that for my point, because every time you put the brush to the model, you're flattening the point of the brush out. No matter what the brush is, sable, synthetic, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is a sable blend brush right here. So, you know, this one, you know, you can sit there and hit it, and then it'll flatten out this way, but I turn it this way and I get my point back. So I'll turn it, rotate it 90 degrees, get my point. That keeps the tip from curling on a synthetic long term, because you're always rotating 90 degrees. So the brush is never remembering that it only paints in this one direction, because that's what gives you tip curl. And what, unbeknownst to most painters, we tend to do, and believe it or not, I think the biggest culprit is the writing on the brush. And people laugh at me when I say this, but it's true. A lot of people hold the brush in their hand subconsciously, aligning the writing in a particular way. Some people might have raised writing that they like the texture of, and you don't even think about it, so you just put your finger on the writing, and it knows you have a positive grip on the brush. But now you're holding it that way all the time, and so when you paint with it, you're always going to have the brush flex in this one direction, right? It's always going to flex like this, which is going to cause it to bend over time. So always be rotating your brush, whether it's that you have to consciously think about it when you put it in your hand. Oh, I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, then paint with it, and then clean it, and then bring it back and say, oh, I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. When you get good at that, right, you'll find your brushes last longer no matter what the brush style is, but definitely with synthetics. And especially if you start using that kind of chisel method that I talk about, even with small brushes, right? Like this, if I can zoom in a little bit, same thing will happen here. A couple of pulls of this brush, right? And it'll flatten out one way and give me a super sharp point the other, right? So even though it doesn't look super flat there, it is compared to that. And so then I'll rotate it and paint with a thinner one here, and then rotate it and rotate it and rotate it. So once you get that just built in, number one, you'll make the paint that's on the brush last longer doing what you want it to do. Your lines won't get super thick, because if you just sit there and hold the brush in the same facing and paint with it, eventually your little detail strokes get fat because the brush starts spreading the point under pressure. Okay? Moo says you've had to adjust your technique. Yeah, because, we've had hobby paints forever from other companies. Those paints are made with a particular thing in mind. But paint has had to evolve, in my opinion, to paint models better. Painting three-dimensional surfaces with tons of tiny details requires you to paint with a thinner paint, but that doesn't want you to sacrifice pigment load, right, and opacity. And so how do you do that? Well, that's the code that we've cracked. But in doing so, we have a lightweight feeling paint. We don't like to call it a thin feeling paint, but that's a good way to say it, right? Because it's not thin. You can't see through our paint naturally. It's very opaque, has a high pigment load, but it's very lightweight, meaning that it does feel like paint once you've thinned it, right? And so that makes it easier to maintain and not have to take as much water, because in other paints that are thicker, you're having to do double the work. You're having to thin it so it feels thinner, right, and flows better, so that it goes over the model better. You're also thinning it for opacity. And sometimes you have to thin it over what you would normally want to do, and it becomes runny because you have to achieve two things with thicker paints. Our paints don't start thick, so you really only need to add enough thinner to get it to lower its opacity, and that's like 25% of what you would normally use on other paints sometimes. Yeah. Depends on the paint, obviously. There's no general mathematics here, but you only are adding thinner to achieve the opacity level you want. You don't have to thin for feel with our paints, period. And Dodge Howe, thank you for the sub.
Thank you.
45 months from Dodge. Hero mode.
That's a heck of a long time.
So anyway, I hope all that helps. And we go into that in a short form on the video on YouTube, but we discuss it here all the time. These are principal things that will enhance your technique no matter what style you're trying to paint with, no matter what models you paint, whether you're trying to paint fast, whether you're trying to paint for Slayer sword winning models. These are the kind of techniques that will make you a more confident and better painter, period. Learning brush control and moisture control will put you in a position where now you can tackle anything you see, because you won't have that hindrance at the beginning, right? Your paint will act the way you want it to act. Now it's just a matter of how do I put it where it needs to go. And those become, I don't want to say they're the easy things, because then we get into like non-metallic metal and trying to teach people reflection locations and all that. There's still lots of things to think about, but those become less of a hurdle, or the hurdle is lowered if you're also not fighting moisture and brush control along the way. So. Awesome, Deathspawn. So size matters and you need a paper towel, says Solo. Yes, nailed it. You picked all the points we were trying to hit. No nuance there at all. Human Dave says, I went night hunt crazy this past week. Now I have a night hunt army, Lady Olander, Nagash, Vanguard, night hunt box, and Banshees. I mean, that sounds like the right way to do it, right?
It's better than being the wrong way to do it.
Never go in with one cheek.
Wait, what?
Human Dave. You always jump in with both cheeks.
Okay.
Yeah, don't single butt cheek it. You have to double butt cheek it.
But what if
it's half-assed?
Oh.
It's the family-friendly show.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Light bulb.
I wish we could get a light bulb emote for me when I.
We need the light bulb emote for when it clicks. Oh, that's a good one, actually.
That's actually
we need the
really
light bulb
good.
emote. Ta-da! Light bulb. That was his name is Gru. What was the movie? The Minions. He had Minions.
I've never seen any of those movies.
Despicable Me.
Despicable Me. He was like, light bulb, when he would get an idea.
Ah, yes.
Light bulb.
Light bulb.
Mr. J, does the old basket have an off switch? Me? Am I the old basket? What the hell are you talking about? Fired.
Old
Fired.
basket.
Put him in timeout.
You're fired.
Put him in timeout. You gotta talk to me that way.
I
What do
mean-
you think this is?
He's like 2 years older than me, so we're not calling people old here.
Yeah. It hits close to home.
Yeah, this is not okay.
We're not spring chickens here anymore.
That can
Is
either-
Lady Olander the one with the roses? She's one of the ones with the veil on her face and the skull mask, right? I like that modeling style. I just want to know where all their legs went. I literally have more paints on my desk than in my paint holders. Horrible human.
I offered to clean it up for you.
Horrible
and you
human
said no.
being I am.
I offered. You said no.
I'm gonna do something fun here. We're gonna go with green.
Wait, did you say fun?
Green
We get to have fun here?
and bright yellow green today. This is what we're doing, chat. We're doing this. Why?
Oh my gosh.
Because I'm an adult and you can't stop me. That's my story. And no, I won't show you my insurance and registration. Thanks for asking. Light Bulbasaur. Now we're into Pokemon territory.
That was a Pokemon reference. Just in case you missed it.
Those look like dirty clanner colors.
Yeah? Are you partaking of the dirty clanning?
No. Inner Sphere all the way. What are you talking about?
Are you painting clan mix?
No thinning. Just green. Straight through. Where we're going, we don't need no stinking thinning. When doing single models or small squads, I'm pretty confident in telling you don't have to waste time thinning our paints for the airbrush much. That's going to differ a little bit based on everybody's airbrush skill and preferences, how you like it to feel as it's airbrushing, how your control is, things like that. But as you can see, for base coats, not thinning the paint is usually a pretty good idea. Just straight over black. If we thin green, it's going to take 2 coats instead of 1. Here we're pretty confident with just 1 coat.
Chuck, she liked it. She's still learning. She's only been on it a couple times, but she seemed to enjoy it. It didn't scare her. And I think she's starting to get the hang of it.
Definitely uncertain at first,
Very
but,
cute.
but climbed right up on it the second time. We didn't get a chance last night to do anything.
No.
Why? Because I was here late. That's
You
why.
were here kind of late.
I was
yeah.
here late. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Green.
And
I
we
just
were both starving.
feathered into the black so we get a darker green shadow. You can do that. Just use your zenithal chops for your base coat application, and you can still get some contrast built up. Just use the black primer as the darker color, right? Easy peasy.
You're painting green. Oh my gosh, that is very green.
Green, baby.
Why is it so bright? You don't paint with these kind of bright colors.
Hey, you shush.
It's true.
Yeah,
I'm the
it
bright
super
color
bright?
kind of guy.
It just looks green.
I've changed my ways.
Yeah, he's painting cute models now.
I'm painting cute,
Cute
models
models,
and bright
bright
colors.
colors?
I don't know what the hell
What?
happened.
Models and
What
Something
is
in the
happening?
water.
I don't know, Jen. Are you gonna use fluorescence? You should paint those things fluorescent green.
Fluorescent green.
Well, Tom said, you ever get the urge to just put the airbrush to your lips and give your gums a little spritz?
No,
No, not
No.
ever once.
actually, no.
Never
Are
even
we
thought about
saying
that.
like when it has paint in it? A little weird.
Is this an eating the paint thing?
A little
Did
weird.
Jason become a brony? He maybe did.
Oh my gosh,
I
Maybe
no.
know where you live. I will hunt you. I have a very particular set of skills.
They involve painting.
They involve, well, painting, but also hunting down people. They call me Brony.
That's what they call you?
Mo just asked if Jason was becoming a brony.
Wow, Mo. You really know how to...
Hurt a guy.
He has a My Little Pony model that he never painted. He was going to paint it like a
Well, I was supposed to
zombie or
like
something.
tear off stuff, right?
Yeah,
I was
you
supposed
were
to
gonna-
like sculpt a bunch
yeah,
of it.
and you were going to make it like a zombie
I think was the goal.
horse or something.
We do have those though.
Stupid chair.
You painted yours.
Yeah, mine's my unicorn. I would never joke about eating paint. Who would do a thing like that? Not you.
Many of you.
Definitely not you.
Quad. We know where you live.
Why is this coming from Wad and not Paint Liquor?
Human Dave,
Paint
just
Liquor's
seeing that your
probably
mini has
working.
an RPG that's so badass it actually works with this character. What are we talking about? The owl? You're off screen.
Oh. Is it just me or does it look kind of dark?
Dark?
Yeah.
It looks
No,
kind
it's
of dark.
just coming along. Oh.
Yeah.
Looks pretty good, right?
Oh,
I think it's
did you
'cause
mean
you're
your
still in
camera?
that everything's dark around the bright spots
Yeah.
stage.
I've been so used to painting bright greens and stuff.
Yeah.
Going down to like grungier colors is a little weird.
Yeah.
Playing tricks on your eyes.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've painted a War Machine model. So it's I'm not used to this.
I'm not used to this. There's 50 million chinguses on it too.
That is annoying.
That'll hurt later.
I am used to that though. I've painted many a Chingus and many a rivet.
Mini a rivet.
Did you hear about the rivet quotas?
You were saying something about it.
I think that's a
Please
joke.
tell me that's a joke.
That's a joke. I mean, yes, it's a joke, but there are an awful lot of rivets.
Black Wolf, 61 months.
Holy cow.
It's not possible. He's lying. He hacked the system.
Not everybody hacks the system. It's a good thing.
Hackers. What's going on, big man? Mr. Jason. Also named Jason. Can't be that bad a guy.
Well, huzzah, huzzah.
That's it.
I'll just throw back my legs and pollute my britches with delight.
Your pizza is on the way, Wadtomaton. Well, my Domino's on the way. It's like pizza, but faster and cheaper and not really as good. I changed that end of it there.
Wow, yeah, Domino's is not a great choice.
You know, it's funny. I think there was a time where like Jen and I were like, "What do you want to try? Let's just do Domino's." Right?
Sounds like
And
a
so we got Domino's. It
mistake.
wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Right?
What?
It's like every now and then you can go do
Ugh.
Domino's, and then after like doing Domino's 2 or 3 times, you're like, never again. It's like Little Caesars. Every now and then you can run into a Little Caesars and pick up a $5 pizza and be just fine with it.
I
If
don't
you-
know.
it's gotta be
Twice?
fresh.
I don't know
If you do it twice,
if we
you're
should go
visiting the
that far.
toilet gods quite
Yeah.
a bit. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is.
I don't think we should go that far.
I don't think we
I'm
should
not
do
willing
that.
to.
I'm
Not
gonna
willing
bring
to
Little
say
Caesars
that
home one
little.
night. And you and I are going to partake in the glory of $5 pie.
Jen's just like, no.
I feel like I'm.
He's like, I am
no.
the boss of me, and that does not include you feeding me Little Caesars. I'll put it in a different box. I'll travel.
It's like the Pepsi challenge.
Yeah. I'll put Little Caesars in like a box from a place we like.
Well,
And she'd be like, wow, that changed.
yeah. I'm
What-
like, we can't go back to this place anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing is you forever
That's a
kill
risk.
The Little
that
Caesars
place.
by you
Risk.
is actually pretty good, Panic Bomb. Because it's different how. It's a corporate deal. They all have to use the same stuff. Do they
It's-
put more love in it?
Little Caesars is not bad when you get it fresh. If it's one of the ones
It's
that's
heat
been
lamp pizza is the problem.
yeah. If you get it right out of the oven, it's great. If you get Mr. Heat Lamp pizza that's been sitting around
It
for like
just-
2 hours.
So here's
Not so good.
Here's the thing. I was a teacher for so long, and I had so many pizza parties with crappy Little Caesars pizza that now that I'm a grown adult,
You're like,
I don't need to eat that
I
anymore.
don't have to eat that.
I'm gonna splurge for the Domino's.
See, I would have thought around here you'd had Peter Piper.
There's Peter Piper too, but Peter Piper is more of like you go there to play the games and stuff.
It's like Chuck E. Cheese kind of.
Yeah. So you go there for
Totally
birthday
different
parties.
experience. I see.
Like I for sure went there for a Michael Bono birthday party.
Like a birthday party.
Yeah.
All right. You just thought we were.
Peter
going
Piper
right.
still exists, yeah. You gotta have a place to go play like arcade games and skee ball and eat terrible pizza.
That sounds like something that Gabe would do
That what?
on a regular basis. Gabe would do.
That Gabe would go to Peter
It
Piper
does sound
Pizza?
like the wholesome kind of thing Gabe would do. Gabe's like, "What are you doing? We're going to Peter Piper and playing video games. and eating pizza."
Maybe though they're a little more elevated to like Dave and Buster's. No, you don't think so?
It's
Gabe, are
Gabe.
you here?
It's Gabe.
Gabe can literally drink alcohol. He's a grown ass man, so he could probably go to Dave and Buster's.
You could probably go to Dave and Buster's.
That's probably true.
Marco's Pizza is the best, but like $45 for one pizza?
That
If you
sounds
give me
like a
code
no thanks
tokens,
for
I
me.
will use, said Gabe.
What do you say? If you
If
give me tokens, I will use.
I told you.
You just
I
thought I
told
was
you.
going bright. Look at this, baby J.
Ooh,
Where's the fluorescence?
I mean, that's
green.
pretty fluorescent,
Nah, throw the fluorescence on top.
dude. That's
Fluorescent-
pretty good.
Fluorescent yellow on top of that? Are you kidding me? It would look so cool. I think it would look really cool.
Omicron, I mean, when you say had a decent pizza, is that like when you were a kid they had a decent pizza? Because I can get on board with that. Kids don't care.
Yeah, kids are like cheese
Yeah.
and bad things.
If it's called pizza
yeah,
and it's round and has cheese and pepperoni on it, it's a good pizza.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. or if you're Paul, only the cheese, please,
Well, yeah, cheese.
because he just does the chicken, which I can respect.
Oh, did you say Paul? Yeah.
Paul only eats chicken.
Yeah, he said today he doesn't eat red meat,
Yep.
doesn't eat like burgers or anything.
That's fine.
He'll eat calamari, he said. But that's it.
Oh, a classy man.
Yeah.
Good job. He's not watching, but good job. Paul, you won back a few points in my eyes.
We had a nice lunch with Paul today.
Yeah. Where'd you guys go?
Publico,
Where's
the
that?
Italian place, the one that we told you about. We had gone to
Oh, it's the other one.
the other one. We
Holy
went there for
bright
restaurant
green,
week.
man.
Yeah,
That's bright.
Got it.
not a bad lunch.
Did Paul behave himself?
Did.
He's all right.
He was a little nervous.
It's funny. I was talking to Gabe. I was
He's
like,
very nervous.
I bet Paul is so very nervous right now.
We owe you a lunch too, Jordan. I think, for breakfast.
Oh,
Because it's been
because it's been 5 months and
Six,
it was supposed
almost
to be
6 months.
60 days.
supposed to be 2, and
I realized that the
I-
other day. I saw it on the schedule and I was like, did I ever have one of those?
no.
You don't get one.
I don't get one?
No. We're constantly judging you every day. I mean, reviewing you every day. Sorry.
Ugh. Ugh. Do I get free lunch every day then?
Yes. No. Wait.
Yes?
Hey,
What
there's
question?
a whole
He said
cabinet.
yes.
There's a whole cabinet of chips out there,
So,
and
yes.
there's a freezer full of hot pockets.
Indeed we do.
So yeah.
It's
Yeah, I was
in
gonna
the
say.
freezer.
I was going to say, we actually do provide free lunch every day for everyone here. You just have to eat Hot Pockets or
You're
or
just not
corny
going to
dogs.
live very long.
Yeah. I've partaken of the
Yeah,
hot pocket lunches.
the young ones can eat that every day.
Yeah.
You're still in that realm.
Me?
You're still young enough to be
I'm
able
30
to eat.
now. I can't do
Oh
that
no,
stuff.
that's the
I've
limit.
officially hit
That's
the
the
limit.
cutoff.
Yeah, no. 30's the cutoff. I can't do that stuff anymore. Jacob? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
that guy can do that. Although he had a hard time with that pizza challenge the other day.
The pizza challenge?
Did you not hear about this?
I don't think I heard about the pizza
So
challenge.
he had how big was the pizza? It was like a 36-inch pizza.
What the? He's not even 36 inches tall.
Yeah.
Where does one
It was like
find a 36-inch pizza?
so. It was just like a pizza challenge where you had to like you and one other person have to eat the whole pizza. You get it for free, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And of course, Jacob, being Jacob, was like, "Let's do this." Actually, I think it was somebody else who was like, "Jacob, you want to do this with me?" And he was like,
Yeah. I'm in.
"Sounds like a plan." And then I remember he was telling me about they sat down and they saw the pizza, and it was like
I didn't realize how big
like
36
a
inches
quarter
was.
inch of cheese over the whole thing.
Oh,
So it was just like
so that's
just can't.
unfair.
I mean, you
Yeah.
realize that 36 inches is the table they sit you at.
Yeah,
yeah.
basically.
It may not have been 36. It was like substantial though. It might have been like 24 inches or something.
Still.
He said it was like the size of 3 extra large pizzas. So
And this is a local place?
yeah,
Oh, I'll have to find out where that is. Not that I'm interested, but
he said
interested.
the pizza was decidedly mid.
oh.
Yeah.
Well, the
Well,
least
they're not
they
going to
could
put
do
their
is
best
give
effort
you...
into 36 inches of pizza for you fools.
Also,
Well,
yeah.
they should, but I guess they don't want to be giving away 36-inch pizza, so...
Yeah.
Well, I'm very curious.
So-
I hope he comes in after
After so
today
you can
for some chair
inquire
time,
about it.
so I can get the scoop on this pizza.
Gabe, if you see him, tell him that Jen has questions.
I have questions.
Speaking of questions, does anybody need a beverage?
I have my water. Do you want me to go get you something?
I
can?
Yeah, a water would be
Yeah.
fantastic, or probably 2, because I have not hydrated very well today.
Just a bottle of water?
Yeah.
Got water?
I got a whole thing of water.
Okay.
I've already drank half of mine.
I've been lacking the hydration the last couple of days, and this humidity / the extra hot. I've been sweating it all out, so I'm gonna drink more water.
Black Wolf says, okay, when do I start work? I don't understand what the reference is. You start work whenever they tell you should go to work.
I think they're referring to here.
Oh, you don't work here.
Is this the one that we said you're hired to earlier?
No,
Okay,
I don't think so. Was it?
I don't know.
I'm down for $5 pizza.
There was food. There was food.
Oh, I see. He's like, oh, free lunch. Actually, free breakfast and lunch, because we also have breakfast sandwiches in there, and chips in the snack. Well, there's all sorts of crap. There's nuts and trail mix and
There are snacks for
like
days.
like cookies, and
There's a lot.
we
Thank
don't
you so
have
much,
like
Jen.
a sushi bar. We're not like Google or Netflix or something, but we have lots of really bad frozen foods and lots of chips to choose from. So we take care of our people, and free drinks from the drink machine all day long. People don't think about it, but that's like $1 an hour raise to have your food.
I mean, it's... Yeah.
I didn't think
Assuming
about
your
that.
body can handle eating that kind of food every day.
Hey, we take care of you. Did you see those hot dogs? Those corny dogs are very nutritious.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are. Sure.
I mean, they have protein. Sort of.
They have every daily vitamin you need.
No, I'm not sure they do.
Oh, yeah, they do. It says right on the box. Are you telling me that the Costco box would lie?
Yes.
Where I
Are
work,
you
they
sure?
have free coffee if you bring your own coffee.
Yeah. Are you sure that it didn't say a good source of daily vitamins?
We actually have free coffee here, but nobody uses the coffee machine.
I
We
just don't
do.
drink
We have
coffee.
like
We
a
do.
Keurig with
We have a
lots of
Keurig.
coffee, and nobody uses it.
Oh.
I don't drink coffee.
Because I need to...
Hot Pockets, corn dogs,
Have creamer in
there's
mine.
bean and cheese burritos in there. There's 2 kinds of Hot Pockets.
pepperoni and like ham and cheese or
Yeah,
something.
there's sausage, egg, and cheese.
Breakfast sandwiches.
Breakfast sandwiches.
Those are genuinely very good.
They're good.
Those are
They're
good.
Jimmy
The
Dean's,
Jimmy
man.
Dean's, yeah, super good. Tasty.
You did hear
Jimmy
Hot
Dean's.
Pockets and corn dogs. Super nutritious.
We even have an air fryer for the corn dogs.
Slammo, you all would have to have a talk with me about how much I would eat and drink on the clock. Well,
You got to work too.
Yeah,
so
there's a little bit of a
You're
trust
not
factor
just eating
here.
all day. You got to actually work.
There's a little bit of a trust factor. Lunch does have to end.
You can't eat while you're making paint because
And if you
we
want to
don't
eat
want
breakfast,
crumbs.
you got to be here before starting time.
Yeah, no crumbs in the paint.
We
No
Don't put
Cheeto
up with the
fingers handling
tomfoolery.
people's orders.
But we do get a big portion of the crew sometimes is here like 7:30 eating breakfast, and then they get going.
No need for all that food. Just eat the paint. No, they know
No.
better.
Wait a minute.
They know better. They have to sign. They have to sign an agreement upon hiring
I don't
that
remember
they will
signing
not
that.
consume the paint.
You did. You just don't remember because we fed you that one meal.
Oh, right.
Remember the one you can't remember anything for a little while after?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You signed a lot of things.
Yeah.
If you find me in the kitchen heating up a Hot Pocket, just know it's not my fault. It is your fault. What are you talking about? Everything's your fault, Gabe.
By the way, have we done any more research on the empanada,
Oh,
the Phoenix empanada trips?
Were we supposed to? I just thought we were going to Indy.
That's really expensive.
Bus ride for everyone.
I don't want to take a bus to Indy.
You got to work on the way.
Okay.
Road tripping.
oh yeah.
Do
There
we
are
do this
empanada
one?
places. The restaurant at the Clarendon Hotel has them.
Oh, really?
We can walk there.
Lunchtime empanada
Yeah.
walk.
I mean, not now. We're not doing
Philly
that.
cheesesteak Hot
It's too
Pocket
hot.
is S tier, says Human Dave. I don't think we have that one. We have ham and cheese
And pepperoni.
and pepperoni. Every bottle signed with a Cheeto thumbprint. You just see that. I got my paint, and there's something weird on the outside. Looks like chocolate.
Oh, that's Jordan's thumbprint. He was eating a bag of Cheetos when he packed that for you. Sorry. We keep on talking to him about this problem, and he keeps on not doing anything about it.
Panic Bomb figured out the secret. We have to have food on the premises or they eat the paint.
Yeah.
Silly humans. By drink machine, you mean faucet? Yeah, there's a hose attached to it, though, so it makes it fun. It's a hose with one of those spray things, but it only has one spray hole that works, and it's the Super Jet.
Yeah.
The super.
So if you want to drink out of the hose, you got to be serious. You got to be committed. It blows your face back, your cheeks blow up really wide. You get like 2 drops of drink. All right, I have some very spicy green mechs going on.
I'm still thinking fluorescent yellow on top to really punch him up.
I mean,
Give him that
that's
nice
pretty
little-
damn bright, dude.
Look, I'm down to see him from orbit, and it's a cool opportunity.
That is
would
much
look so
freaking
good.
brighter.
That would look so good.
The
Oh,
fluorescent
man.
yellow literally like makes the mech look like it's just not even painted. Like, what the hell's going on here?
Chuck the Meat Man said, no lie, we once got a rejection from an automotive customer in China because we shipped them a camshaft end piece with a whole Cheeto inside it.
Wait,
Well, that's
what?
not how that's supposed to work.
That's definitely a step away from, fingerprints on the paperwork.
There's fire news and you had to leave, Despot. Hope everything's all right.
He missed your answers to his 13-minute ago questions.
No, he didn't. He said earlier that he saw him, and thank you very much.
He said,
He missed the brush question,
yes.
or the brush answer. Kia was unhappy. What is this? It's part of the deal. It has to be there or it won't work right. Well, then we have 300 other ones that don't have it. Can you send us 299 instead of just a bag of Cheetos? T. Schmidt, good Lord, bright mech. Yes. Bright mech is bright.
It can be brighter.
Jordan's a heretic.
We
don't listen to
can
him.
make it brighter.
Yeah, we don't listen to Jordan. It's just green and bright yellow green over black, right? So the green over the black, if you do it thin like I had, cools off the green quite a bit because the black showing through makes it, very, very deep. So it's almost like, it doesn't have enough blue to be a jade, but it gives you that feeling that you've shot jade under it when you haven't. It's just very thin dusting of green over the black, right? Then green, then bright yellow green, pretty heavy over the top of that. It gives you a good contrast. Very quick way to paint mechs, right? You just airbrush them 2 colors over black primer. But what I really want to focus on today is mixing up some of our not oil wash.
What? Can I mix them up too?
Eventually.
What?
There has to be something beneficial to being the king.
But
You should see his face right now.
I have a model prepped and everything.
You should see his face right now. It's great. Yes. I will put some in a cup.
Yes. I have cups over here. In fact, I have a cup for you too.
I need un cup. We still need to find all the rest of them.
Yeah, I don't know where they are. I pulled
Damn
these
it.
out of the bag. Just 1 or 2.
They're probably in my office, like in a box underneath
These
my
there.
desk or something. I feel like that sounds
There are
like,
2 there.
that sounds what we're missing.
I definitely did not throw them away.
Human Dave, did you put up the new neons, the fluorescents? We've shown them. We've got fluorescent. That's fluorescent orange. It's so bright the camera fades it out. Isn't that nuts? Like it makes it look
looks
like peach.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy?
It
That
looks
is
peach.
insane.
It's nothing.
It's not
like
anywhere near that.
we can't even.
Jordan used the fluorescent green, which
Yep.
is again desaturated because the camera can't handle it. The intensity. He used some on a model recently. The fluorescent yellow we just showed. We have a fluorescent pink, magenta, right? A fluorescent purple, right? And a fluorescent blue. So some pretty amazing colors there.
Oh, here, I actually have them all over here.
Now, though,
This
we're going to
guy.
play around with some new stuff. You saw a while back, we have created what we think is a great solution for you. Those of you that like to do oil washes. Right? There you go. Just a little bit. This is just clear medium, so.
Yep, just mix whatever lovely flavor of color I want to put in there. Yes.
But it's all acrylic, right? So
Do we still
very
have
little
any?
smell. Smells like white glue almost. Just a medium base. But it has a super long open time, so it allows us to work with it for upwards of like 10 to 12 minutes, something like that. So we should be able to put it on this mech, glop it on, and then use our makeup sponges to take it back off with, right? So it's called subtractive weathering. And oil washes are what you're probably the most familiar with regard to this. We just use these triangle makeup sponges. You can use Kleenex, whatever. You don't want to use anything rough because it is an acrylic, and you don't want to rub off the paint, especially here because I've just airbrushed these. So we might see a little bit of the paint wipe away because we're doing a pretty heavy-duty technique on top of freshly airbrushed models, but they should be okay. They should be okay. So I am going to do maybe... I want to do like a real ruddy brown, I think. So maybe like a warm brown, or does dark flesh get me there just in one? No, not quite. Maybe I use dark flesh and warm brown to create my color here.
Have you tried mixing transparency into this?
Or maybe just warm brown and some trans black or something.
Yeah.
Maybe just warm brown. I think it's too bright.
I was thinking about doing transparent brown, transparent black.
Yeah, they work great. I want a little bit more opacity just for buildup of grime. So,
Yeah.
A tongue works like a sponge, just saying. Yeah, that's why you should use a sponge instead of your tongue. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to put about that much in there. I don't know how much of it was. Not worried about mixing right now. And then, somewhere on this table is transparent black. I'll dump some transparent black in there, like so. So just like our glaze wash medium, it's just to make the color like you want it. Do your thing. Go wild. Have fun. I'm just going to use the tail end of my brush here and mix it all up. And that was perfect. I mean, pretty much exactly the color I wanted. Just a little bit redder, dark umber kind of a color is what I was going for.
Yeah, I want to go for something that's a little bit more black for mine.
My intention is to do this, and then because it's all acrylics, then I can do a black wash over the top.
Yep.
Very thin. To get where I need it. One of the beautiful things, if we can pull this off, because this is kind of a disruptive product, if we can pull this off, get it to work the way people want it to work, then we can legit go through and do things immediately over the top of it, whereas an oil wash tends to be one of the final things you do before you varnish. Now, if it's an acrylic, you can leave it open, you can weather, you can do all that stuff, but then you can go right back over it with another wash, which would generally remove your oil wash, you know, things like that. So you'd be able to use it in a more blending fashion, but get the similar effect out of it no matter the... So I just need probably a brush. I don't care too much about to slime this thing.
Paint Liquor said every time I look, Baby J has a new model out. What happened to your other one?
He said not oil wash. And I've been waiting to do these guys for a hot minute.
Oh, so you're going to use that. Okay, gotcha.
No water on my brush.
Lumberjack Tim just got back right in time. BJ paints like a madman. I am Chaos J. Sometimes you may forget that I am, in fact, Chaos J.
I'll try to split it to where I do the front and then the back, and probably the arms separate. Just as I go through the process here. I think I'm brave enough to do the whole model at once, but I want to see how this works. Ah, screw it. Let's do the arms too.
Do it all. Do all of it at once.
Yeah, it ain't a test if we don't go balls out, right? So let's just go balls out. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. I can repaint this guy.
I can already see that it's not sticking to the...
It moves around really well.
Yeah.
Just like an oil would. Except that we don't, because it's an acrylic, we can just use dry and or damp brushes, paper towels, whatever you want. There's no need for white spirits, no mineral spirit, no nothing, no caustic additives. This is super safe, non-toxic stuff, just like our Pro Acryl paints. All acrylic. Boom. Everywhere. Right? Just a little bit under here. Love how I can just kind of glop it around and move it. Right? Boom. There you go. Slime ball. That's what we'll call it. Slime. Weathering slime.
Well, Tom John said it looks like you're painting it with chocolate.
Yeah, exactly, right? Then we'll go back to where we started up here, right? And oh my god. Look.
T-Schmidt said this totally not oil is a medium or a color?
It's a medium.
Yeah, we're mixing color into it right now.
It's a medium.
I'm even doing my base with it as well.
I mean, if I were not Monument Hobbies and I were in the business of selling paints, I would be scared right now.
It does look like he took a bath in chocolate.
Yeah. Yep.
And T. Schmidt, just kind of like the washes, we may decide. I have not gotten far enough down that path because we're still proving out the medium, but we may decide to go through and do pre-batched colors. Like we might do something that's like what you see me doing here, a real ruddy brown, you know, possibly a black.
Something kind of like in between, like something like this would be kind of cool too.
That gives you the ability to have a good starting point, regardless, right?
Panic Bomb Arcade said this is some kind of dark sorcery. Nick
All
Pye,
acrylic, people.
Nick Pye said I could not do that to a model. Would you be afraid, like, because you're afraid that you're ruining it? Is that what you're saying? Very dark.
No water at all. I have not used any water in the mix. There's no dampness on the sponge.
Yeah, this is pretty
Isn't it amazing?
cool. This is pretty freaking cool, guys.
Isn't it amazing? This is Baby J's first time with it. We have thinned it a bit. It was too thick the first time, so it felt a little gloppy. It felt like there was too much left in the recesses, and that it had a dimension to it, you know? So it was like mud effect, you know? As opposed to just grime and grease, you know, something that shouldn't have like a lot of volume to it, physical volume. Okay. My sponge is super dirty.
Yeah, you probably definitely need a few sponges.
Couple sponges. If you load up, I put a lot on mine.
So
you don't have to be quite as aggressive as I was.
The interesting thing that I did with this one is I put a layer of gloss on before to see if that would affect it in any positive way. I'm curious to see what that ends up doing.
One thing to note here is that, you know, you saw me just airbrush these and then we stopped and talked a little bit, but this is literally how soft I'm hitting this. I'm not having to rub very hard, but I'm getting good removal, right? Because if I rub too hard, I'm afraid I'm going to knock my airbrush paint off.
Yeah, because you just airbrushed.
Because I just airbrushed it, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things is I'm being able to do this very, very soft, but I'm getting good subtractive quality out of it.
T. Schmidt said, that's how I painted all my mechs. Actual oil wash, because Fuse doesn't share.
Actual oil? Like
Actual oil wash.
20W50?
I said oil wash.
All the things that I would use.
Boom. And then if I want, I got like spots up in here. I can just use a brush, right?
T. Schmidt wants to know if this sorcery will work for scale modeling style dot filters.
Yep. What I was going to show next. How about that? That's pretty ridiculous. And guys, you're seeing, like, we've done entire models, and I'm still moving the paint around.
Yeah, the like nice subtle shading that it adds is just.
And that's a thing right there, is that I can let this set up, right? You can get kind of creative with it. You can start letting it set up. Leave this guy alone for a couple minutes. Then when you come back with just a slight dampness on the brush, you can actually feather this stuff.
Yeah.
As you think about it as almost like edge blending, like wet blending, because the main body of the paint will stay where it's at. But if you see clumps, you can start feathering them out with just a damp brush, because again, it's just acrylic. Blot those big sections. And even if I do this, even if I'm blotting with the brush and I get more stuff up on top of the shoulder like that, check that out. Super easy.
Here's a good one.
So I can just kind of play around with it. I don't even have to worry about messing anything up.
Checking out what all these rivets look like with the yellow underneath.
Also doing all this without my eyes on.
Oh yeah, that looks great. Look at that. Over the yellow.
Oh yeah. Too easy.
Too freaking easy. Okay, so there was another thing I wanted to try out. I wanted to see if it waters.
Get my brush wet because there's a little bit of buildup there that wasn't moving. So a little bit of damp brush on it. Boom. Take it right off. A little bit of streakiness there. I don't want that. It's already starting to dry. Take the damp brush, kind of pop it on there. Clear that off. Boom, done. Yeah. I think you're going to love this stuff, guys. I mean, especially, like, think about how fast it makes this, right? Painting battle mechs.
So you just slapped that stuff on the whole thing.
I basically, like, it's just like dipping it in the
and
stuff
then wiped it
almost.
off the top.
Yeah.
And left it in.
Now, I used a lot of material, right? Because the idea of it being an acrylic is that it will start drying. So if you put it on real thin, it'll start to dry quicker. So you want to glom it on the model and then wipe it off. So it is, like oil washing, it's a wasteful process in that term because you're taking most of it all. But that's subtractive weathering, period.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, it's going to create that situation, right? Now, T. Schmidt had asked about stuff like going through and doing like dot filters. I've got a brush that's adequate for placing it on there, right? But you can imagine, like, let's just real quick, and these aren't really great panels for this, though, T. Schmidt.
What is a dot filter? What does that mean?
So a dot filter on, like, the side of a tank. Here, let's get a tank. Let's get our test tank out. Right. So dot filter is where I can go around with, say, brown, like this. You would use white, generally, you know.
You're kind of off out of the frame a little bit. There we go. Perfect.
Right? And so I would just kind of place some dots of paint with like an oil paint on the model. Right? And then you'd take your same sponge, right? And then just with each one of these, just kind of pull it down.
Oh.
Right?
Make it look like streaky or something?
Yeah, it just gives you a streaky blend of whatever color it is, right? So it gives that verticality. So yeah, it works great. Yeah, and you don't have to wait for it to dry, right? I mean, you still do. It still has a long open time, so we're going to have to sit here a bit before my guy is ready to go back over the top of. But
not days, right?
Not days.
Like,
oh, no. I don't have to wait till tomorrow. I mean, I
Yeah,
could go and start on the next model, get the next model done if I were doing a unit, do the unit, and then come back to the first one and be ready to go.
Yeah, because like oil, like regular. So this is
24
something that
hours
people would
minimum,
normally do with
generally.
oil paint.
When you make an oil wash, you typically take your oil and put it out on like a piece of cardboard so it soaks most of the linseed or whatever oil they've used as a base for the paint out. And by taking that oil out, then the rest of it that's left is more like an acrylic paint. So it still has an open time. You've reduced that open time a little bit, but it starts to act more like an acrylic when you soak all the oil out of it. So you generally want to be careful and do that. So it doesn't take, but I still let it alone for about 24 hours. And the problem with it is that it never truly dries.
Right.
So if you put something wet back over the top and agitate it, you'll remove it again, right?
So is it just straight oil paint, or do you mix it with something?
For oil wash, it's just straight oil paint.
Okay.
Oil paint. And, well, you thin it down with mineral spirits,
Okay.
so that it becomes like a wash. The same way we would thin it.
Yeah, that's what I was
water.
kind of getting at. Like washes to me means like.
Oil wash,
Wash.
generally mineral spirits. You know,
Okay.
you saturate you wick a bunch of the oil out of the oil paint by putting on cardboard. Generally, is the best way to do it. Right. Put a droplet of oil out on cardboard, let that sit for a day. That'll take a bunch of the oil out of it. Then you come back and take the paint that's left, mix it with mineral spirits, put it on, and it allows you to wipe it off, and it sits in the recesses still. Why it's called subtractive weathering,
Yeah.
because you spend most of your time taking the paint back off the model, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Do you see
Oh,
that
yeah.
question from Wad? I gotta go check the doors.
What did Wad ask? If you want the effect
yeah.
to be more visible for that dot technique, would you let the dot sit before pulling it? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Same thing, and more dots. Yep. More dots, bigger dots, different color. A lot of times with dot filtering, you're going to use like a desert yellow, a white, and like a deep brown black kind of thing is my trio that I would normally go to, or like a burnt sienna, so that then when you pull them together, they blend and they give you that kind of oxidized. Generally, it's a thing I only do on tanks and vehicles. It doesn't work great for like figures because there's not a broad space. You see like trying to do it on this guy, you would just do what we've done here because it doesn't scale well. But on the side of tanks and vehicles and stuff, it works a champ. Many whelps, more dots. Yeah, exactly. More dots.
I want to say goodbye.
More dots.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Or are you like goodbye for a while?
Well, now wait a minute.
Yeah,
You're gone, like out of town, gone.
I am.
Come get on camera. Come sit.
No,
You have to leave right this
okay.
minute.
Not right this.
You come get on camera.
Shelby gets to enjoy the comfy chairs.
What would you like me to say to the lovely people?
Other chair. Because the
Other
camera
one?
got moved somehow. That's Shelby.
Hi, where do I look?
The camera's like down here someplace.
Okay.
And pull your microphone
Oh,
down.
there it is.
Pull your microphone down so they can hear you.
Hi, guys.
There.
Yeah.
It's a Shelby.
Yeah, it's a Shelby.
Shelby was just in our social media in a behind the scenes photo. Making sets, I think you guys were.
I was.
We
yeah.
lose Shelby for like 10 days.
Yep, and then everything crashes and burns without me.
She's literally decided to leave us for all the days.
All the day.
Just,
To be fair, I did tell you about this trip in January.
I'm old and don't remember this, so no, you didn't.
Well,
I feel hurt.
it seems like your fault, Jason.
What's that?
Oh,
Seems like your
dang.
fault.
It's
You're
my
hurt.
fault?
Yeah.
Why?
I didn't do anything. I did my job.
But you're leaving.
Yeah, but I told you months ago.
Don't look at me.
Why?
You approved it.
Damn it, I didn't though.
Jen's fault.
Jen's fault. There you go. She's not even in the room to protect herself. Definitely Jen's fault. Where are you going?
I'm going to Washington
DC or state?
State.
Seattle-ish?
Spokane Valley.
Spokane Valley.
Hmm.
That's not Seattle.
That's over
It
the
is
mountains.
not Seattle.
That's the west.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
east. Spokane is east.
East, yeah.
It's east, yeah. It's super close to, like, Post Falls, Idaho.
Is it a mission-y kind of thing?
No, my cousin is getting married.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a wedding-y kind of
Oh,
thing.
so it's like a
Wedding.
hangout with family and do
Yeah.
the whole wedding thing? Oh, that's
Yeah.
kind of fun then.
My extended family lives there, so.
That's kind of fun.
Mhm. My other cousin, his sister, is gonna give me a couple of tattoos.
Couple of
that's pretty
tattoos.
bad.
Yes.
Delinquent.
I'm gonna come back all tatted up.
I should have let you know earlier that we are not a company that supports tattoos.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you should look in the mirror before you say that.
So we don't allow tattoos.
Absolutely frowned upon.
Despon says, "Okay, Shelby is allowed to leave for a wedding." See, we had to let chat actually give you the
The okay.
Thank you,
The
thank
okay.
you, chat. That's
otherwise
Jason's like, I'm so upset about this, I have to have let
you
chat
gotta stay.
say yes.
Yeah.
Solo says, "Truly nice product, saves a lot of time, no waiting ages for it to dry like oils. Liquid wizardry."
I was looking at this on Gabe's monitor for a bit. It looks so interesting.
Yeah, the oil, not
Yeah.
oil wash that we're doing right now.
Uh huh.
Yeah, it's a great way to weather, right? So you
Mhm.
start with something like this that you just put the colors you like on, but you want it to be a little bit more grim, you know,
Right.
and beat up. so that you can come back and do this wash on it. But typically in our industry, in order to do a wash like this, you're either doing like we make our washes. You know, we have black, brown, and flesh. You put the wash on top of the model, and it filters color over the whole model. So the green at the top of the shoulders wouldn't be as bright anymore.
Right, it's a little color theory.
Yeah, and so what you want to be able to do is knock, all of that darkness off of your high spots so that you still maintain the color your model was.
Yeah.
And just get it down in the recesses, because you can imagine how hard it is to paint every one of those cracks and crevices.
Right.
Right? But the wash gets down in the cracks and crevices. It just also changes the color more dramatically of the model than you want sometimes. So I did these on purpose in a very bright color to show you, right, that while it knocks it down a little, not much.
Yeah.
Right? Not a whole lot of change there from the bright green up at the shoulder.
Yeah.
Right? It looks a lot darker just because this guy doesn't have any brown on him. But it doesn't kill the brightness of the model.
Yeah.
So you can start with bright colors and not be fearful when doing subtractive weathering like this of losing all of that vibrancy. You lose some, but you don't get as big of a heavy filter, and you still get all those recesses with the darkness in them that makes it look, nice and gritty and grimy, and you can move it around how you want. And the biggest thing is that oils take forever to dry, but if I do what I'm about to do, you'll see that, let's take some heavy warm white. Actually, I think I want. We're going to take some of our new heavy warm white, which, by the way, are great as dry brush colors.
I am so glad that this exists.
You're so glad what? Can I grab a paper towel from you? Actually, I'll just
I
steal this
put
one.
them back over there. What the heck?
Well, you just stole it.
I like stealing things.
It's kind of what you do.
Mom and Dad are fighting.
Huh?
Mom and Dad are fighting.
Mom and Dad are
Yeah,
fighting?
you guys are fighting.
Oh.
And then we can come back over very quickly
Oh, I just
and
broke one.
already be
Oops.
adding highlights to this, which you would never be able to do with an oil wash situation.
Yeah, you'd have to let it sit for a whole day.
So is the difference between this one and our regular washes the fact that you can kind of brush it away and
Yes.
don't lose the vibrance?
You got it.
Gotcha.
The regular washes are great, but they aren't meant to be messed with. You put them on, and then you're done.
Right.
This, you put it on, you get it situated, you can move it around. It has what we call longer open time, so you can work with it for a long time.
That's pretty neat, Jason.
Just a different way of doing things. It's an old style of painting, just always been, you've had to use toxic or caustic materials because you got to use mineral spirits or turpentine.
Yeah.
And having it be something you can do with a non-toxic acrylic that just takes water to clean up and that dries to a very permanent finish in a very short amount of time changes the game.
Yeah.
With regards to how we think about painting, because now it can let you do some pretty cool effects very, very fast to a level that previously you had to really rely on the standard washes like what we sell that might not get you the look you want. So I'm hoping everybody sees the power in it. That's why we're showing it off.
I see the power for sure.
I see the power.
It's there.
Knowledge is half the battle.
So I'm going to take some of this transparent white. And we're going to build back up.
Alright, well, I'm probably going to get going.
Cool.
Jacob's here.
Have a wonderful vacation, Shelby. You will be missed.
Thank you. I know.
You will be missed.
Shelby was cool.
We'll have to deal
come
with...
by and say hello. Oh, come say hi. Come say hi. Hop on the chair. Hey, you never even sat in these chairs before. You won't want to leave.
Whoa.
Welcome to our stream. Hi everybody, it's Paul.
Oh, that's me.
The camera shifted, it doesn't show.
Yeah, it needs to move.
Yours.
That's alright, they don't
Can you
see
rotate it a bit?
It only sees you.
No, that's okay.
That's
Jordan
okay.
keeps kicking it.
Well, they put it literally right under my feet.
Well, I mean, not really.
I mean, yeah. like pretty much actually.
Did somebody what?
Turn their camera on.
I turned the chair on.
Yeah.
But the camera's not showing very much.
Oh, what happened to it?
Jordan kicked it.
Jordan. There we go.
Boom.
Yep.
Yeah, this is what you're missing out on. All right, so I'm out of here in like an hour.
Oh, Shelby was in here?
Yeah.
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 What are you guys doing?
Oh, wait, does her vacation start tomorrow?
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not
That's-
here tomorrow?
No.
That's why she came in to
I
say
didn't
hello.
even think about that when I said goodbye to her. Ah.
Yeah, she made a special goodbye to all of us in here.
Oh.
But you weren't here. It was very sad.
Well, shoot. I just about ran into her in the hall. We do that often. It seems like in that middle part,
Mm-hmm. You and
we
Shelby
almost
particularly
run-
run
like-
into each other?
we have near misses at least once a day.
So Paul, how's it feel to be on stream? You're on stream for the first time. You feel the power?
What?
You gotta move the mic closer to you and talk into it.
So pale.
It's
the
'cause you are
lights-
pale.
The light's pretty
lights-
blown out.
Yeah, well then the light's not on facing that way either.
Do I need to get underneath there and turn it on? Probably should.
It's a work in progress. Check.
We're working on it.
So cool.
This is so cool. Yeah, this is the part of my day that you don't see, Paul. So when I'm gone,
Chat, say hi to Paul. Paul is in manufacturing.
Bye.
One of the lovely souls that brings you the amazing pro acryl you so crave.
yeah, what have you been putting together today, Paul?
We did like ivory, shadow flesh. We just did the metallic medium.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever done that one before.
Have to have.
I don't know. It seemed different.
And then you did some primer today too, right?
That was Madison.
Oh, I thought Ruben said that he was having you help
Oh.
him.
He filled it. He didn't cap it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I did
All right.
the first bunch.
I'm going to announce that that's too damn easy, dude.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. I'm doing the transparent red on top of that, and I just put that wash on. It's still like wet. You can see it in there.
Yeah, it's too damn easy, man.
Panic Bomb Arcade and Moe's Magic both are saying hello to Paul.
Hi.
Nobody's talking to Jacob.
Ha ha! Victory.
Jacob's old hat.
Like, oh, it's that guy again.
Your old news.
Jacob's old hat.
We got a shiny new penny. They gotta say hello.
Hairdo says, I still have 12 plus bottles of mahogany from a project a few years ago. Can I trade them in? Unopened, of course. No. No. We don't want your few
What you
years
need
old
to do is find some stuff to use that mahogany paint and keep yourself busy. You could get a big project painted with 12 bottles of mahogany.
You certainly
paint.
can.
Like a house. Maybe not a whole house.
Do like a 2 foot by 2 foot section of a wall, maybe.
Mo said, I'm painting. Ain't nobody got time to say hi to everybody.
I like the attitude, Mo. Keep
Remember, Mo, your choices matter.
Keep it
Oh.
up, Mo.
Punisher made a nice offer for hairdo. You can DM for my address so I can properly dispose
There you
of
go.
those 12 plus bottles of mahogany.
Hairdo, be very careful of this Punisher guy. He will want to dispose of every model you paint.
He's not asking for that hairdo. He's asking for your mahogany paint, I think.
Just make sure you don't ship anything else in there.
Too easy. This would have made short work of 47 battle mechs.
Yes, it would have. Yes, it would have.
Yeah, that would have been a lot easier.
Well, I really like how these guys are turning out now.
Isn't that crazy? Oh, the grime on the white is perfect.
Yeah, well, I went back and I did a little bit of transparent white just to add
Brighten
a
it
little
back
bit
up.
of brightness.
Like
Yep.
a base of is really.
Oh.
Jade,
Base is
do it.
I got second.
Do it. It's a great model.
You're
You got
hoping
the
you can
big
make
one.
the house payment with mahogany at some point? I mean, I don't see why not. If they won't take mahogany as payment for your
Bye,
bills,
guys.
then you don't need that
Nice
negativity
meeting
in your
you.
life.
Paul, why are you
Oh,
leaving me?
You guys leaving already?
I have to go home and shower.
Well,
You guys got a hot date tonight? Huh?
With
Stop
each
telling
other.
people that.
Tell me not to.
He told you not to tell.
We,
It's a
Jacob
bromance.
says, don't tell anybody.
we're all going to a fancy schmancy little party out in the middle of freaking nowhere. It's like an hour away from it. Okay, well, make sure you text me your address. You better
Bye,
not
guys.
leave
See
before
you
I get
tomorrow.
there. This guy.
You guys are going to a party on a school night?
I mean, it's not that kind of party. One of our Digimon friends is like making a whole bunch of like fried chicken and inviting basically.
Oh, that's why Paul didn't want to go to the fried chicken place today, because he's already having fried chicken.
Yes.
Got it. Jade said, I think I finally finished a project. Now, do I feel confident enough to move on to the Morgan? I say yes.
I say yes.
I say yes, which means yes.
Do would trade mahogany for some fried chicken.
We have spoken, and thus it shall be.
You go in a matter of
Wait,
minutes.
were those the same bright color?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Those were the same color a little bit ago.
So it's more than just in the little recesses and grooves
Well,
and stuff.
I dry brushed over the top and desaturated it with the heavy warm white.
Oh, okay.
So that I could get, because I wanted more of a desaturated green
Gotcha.
to it, right? And since I know I'm going to get a filter from oil washing, a lot of times you start with a brighter color than you want because it's going to filter it down, right? So if you start with too dark a color, if you start with color you're after and then you wash over the top of it, you're always going to get a darker color
Right,
than you
okay,
want.
that makes sense.
So start with something brighter. I went over the top just so I could show you, right?
So you did the heavy warm white, you said?
Yeah, I just dry brushed heavy warm right over the top just to
Over
show
the
people
top
how fast it sets up once it starts setting up. Now, there's still some that's probably loose in the deep recesses, but I don't care about that. So I can dry brush real quick because it's all acrylic. I can handle the model. I can feel comfortable about not smearing paint around. You'd never be able to do that with an oil wash
So you did
model.
the dry brushing after the wash?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, do the oil wash, do the subtractive weathering, take all the we call it an oil wash. You do the acrylic wash over the
Right.
top, you subtract it with the sponge, then you dry brush over the top of that.
Gotcha.
Right, and now you would go back in and do your final detail, or just leave it. You know, I mean, if you based your stuff, probably you just go back in and do the metallic bits on this and call it a day, and you could paint, you know, your entire lance in an afternoon, right, very quickly. You do your whole Nurgle army very, very fast, right, by doing this.
Chris
These
is
aren't the
gonna
best
see this.
sculpts for the dry brushing because the edges are a little warbly on these BattleTech minis, but it turns out good. And all that really was setting up with a bright to dark zenithal in green, as you saw, right? Just green and bright yellow green. So nothing fancy on the base coat, nothing that you can't do. Do the wash, subtract it off the way you want it, leave enough in the recesses to get all your detailing done. Boom, finished. Yeah, too easy. And I like the thickness of this one too. So doesn't feel gloopy.
Do they have the ability to make thinner ones?
What do you mean?
Like if we wanted like a slightly thinner consistency one.
So the problem we're having with it is that we want it to hold together with the open time. So no, the more where there's a balancing
there's a
act
trade-off
between
that you
thin
get. Got it.
and how open it lasts. Because
Got
the
it.
more we thin an acrylic, the quicker it's going to dry.
Makes sense.
So I'm really happy with that as far as a midpoint.
No, I think this is perfect.
If I introduce you to my favorite model. So there you go, chat. welcome to the inner circle for those of you that may be new here. Every now and then we show off upcoming new possible products before they are a thing. So, huzzah. Enjoy.
And what's this guy?
Well, this guy's a little owl by the name of Percival Chevalier the Fifth, first of his name, ankle biter, shin kicker, world ender,
You didn't say the last part right.
lady killer. Because we added in a new one. Lady killer's mostly in his head. You know?
That's true for most people.
That
is true for most people. Oh my gosh. But
Jade, I do also have a 10-inch undead dragon that has been staring you down for about 8 years. Oh God. Do you have bite off more than you can chew syndrome?
Lumberjack Tim said this is my first time actually seeing Percival.
What?
Isn't he
Oh,
so
you've just been listening.
Listens.
You've just been listening.
Because he's driving. He's responsible.
he's responsible.
Fluoros plus the no oil, the non-oil oil wash. You might have an idea. Yeah, you can mix it with any colors, right? So you could take the fluorescence, make a fluorescent wash that you put on subtractive and make like glowing recesses for models. Because you can do anything you want to with it, all of a sudden you can start thinking about reverse undertones. You can start doing really fun stuff. Huh? Isn't it? Oh my God, look at the thigh plates on that guy. Oh, that's awesome, man.
So good. It's so easy.
So when
I heard that Monument Hobbies place makes good products.
do you have an idea?
The problem is we've shown people and now they won't be able to get it for a while.
Well, I was going to say, do you
So-
have a timeline for the people?
So we will do some more testing here. The big thing we always want to do is paint models in different ways. You know, we've done some real aggressive showing off of it today just with quick airbrush applications. So we show that, you know, the paint holds up. It doesn't tear the paint off. So that was a really good interaction. Anytime you have something with a very long open time like that, you want to make sure it doesn't interact poorly with the base layers. Yep. So we need to do a bunch more models and play with it. But I would say that throughout the course of the month after Nova Open and things like that, that we would be at a pretty good spot. Then if we want to make any pre-mix versions of it, we need to test pre-mix versions, how it pigment loads in, so that we can make big batches of it and see how it settles, you know, and things like that. But
It looks pretty good over the gloss too, because like one of the things I would always do with like oils back in the day is I'd always gloss coat them underneath to get better flow.
Yep.
So I was curious if that had an effect on this, even if it like avoided extra staining or anything like that. But it seems like it's fairly similar. It might be a little bit brighter.
Yeah, it looks like it. A lot more of it moved into the recesses, which is why you would gloss.
Yeah, exactly. So it is cool and interesting to note that you can still get that sort of effect out of it.
Well, and remember one thing that you didn't do is you can take a wet brush and you can clear the surface where you want it to be brighter, and then blot it again, and you get it all the way down to the base paint.
Yep.
Right.
But with less steps, it's kind of nice to have this as an option. Especially now that we have our fantastic new gloss varnish. That's shiny.
Ooh, shiny.
And we can go back.
You're still waiting for neon yellow.
How this guy turned out. Looks nice with all that dark shading added to it.
Well, the fluorescence we still have to do some testing on too, but that'll be happening in concert with this, so you won't have to wait too long, I don't think. And the nice thing is when you look at it, what we mixed, mine's still usable.
Oh yeah, mine 100%.
Right.
I got plenty left in here.
So you could mix up a big batch and do it model by model and not run out, right? Not have to remix between models, so the wash itself would work for a whole lance of mechs if I mixed enough. I probably only mixed enough to do another mech or two. But, you know, you can do it very simply. And I think that would work great. Matter of fact, I probably ought to do the other mech while it's sitting here. Sorry, chat. Percival goes back on his roost for a second. Or do I keep this one? I'll keep this one unpainted, actually. That makes for a better combo.
That way you can see.
I'm not trying to use those mechs for anything. I can show the beginning and the end.
Yep.
Where do I put my paint? But yeah. Floral colors on the horizon, probably before the year's end, depending on what we can do for labels and stuff like that. But we may push them off just for marketing reasons a little bit further. You never know.
You never know.
You just never know.
Until you do. And then you know.
How you doing over there, babe? Really quiet.
Just hanging out.
This stuff is awesome. It's real awesome.
You happily accept all paints with just a hello sticker. Don't let labels slow you down. You know we can't do that. As many people who would love that, there's a lot of people that didn't come from our small roots with us now, and they ruin it for the rest of us on that kind of stuff. What is today? Tuesday?
It's
Today is
Tuesday.
I'm having such a hard time with remembering what's going on. When do we have to go to Nova? Is that next week?
Yep.
That's next week.
Oh my god.
Yep. I fly out Wednesday. Right? I do fly out Wednesday. Yeah.
So do
Wednesday
I, just
morning.
much later.
Yeah, it's just late at night.
Are we sharing a room?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
I was curious only because I only saw the one booking on there, and it was a 2-bed. I was just making sure.
T. Schmidt said my Adepticon texture pastes are my favorite paint bottles.
Oh my gosh! This
Hello,
stuff,
my name is.
You know what? Transparents are awesome too.
Oh, that's right. We did the hello, my name
Hello,
is,
my
didn't
name
we,
is,
on the
'cause we
texture
didn't have
paints. That was
labels.
fun.
I wrote all those.
Yeah, Jen did all those by hand. Isn't that crazy?
That's
forgot
so
all about that.
awesome.
Oh, because T. Schmidt saying I will happily accept paints with just a hello sticker. Don't let labels slow you down.
Yeah,
Don't let labels slow
that
you
was
down.
actually very funny when we did that.
I think people really liked it, to be honest. Having it available at a show, they were like, "Oh, it's kind of a cool little thing."
Chuck, we do Las Vegas Open. We do Adepticon, Gen Con for vending. And then this year, Jason and Jordan will be at Nova Open and New York Comic Con, right?
Yep.
For paint and take. Is it paint and take?
Yeah, the New York Comic Con's paint and take.
Yeah. And it's there's a substantial expense to traveling to shows like that, so we stick to those.
Yeah, it's hard to just go.
Yeah. Plus, it takes people out of the office for a long time, and we're
Yeah.
still very small. We've got what 13 people
I think
now?
14, maybe?
14?
14 with,
With
or do we have
Maddie, too.
15 now? Because
Oh, Paul and Maddie too.
new Maddie.
Yeah, new Maddie and Matt might put us at 15.
Oh yeah, and Matt too.
I always have to count on my hands. All right, Phil Christian.
You're doing the count.
She's over there counting.
Yeah, I was like, I wonder what the actual count is. It's got to be 15 or 16, I think.
I have to go by department. Okay, so fulfillment is Phil Christian.
Do you guys count yourselves?
Yeah, after I count everyone else.
Okay.
Phil Christian, Maddie, Matt, Shelby, Jacob. That's 6.
Carter.
That was fulfillment. So 6 in fulfillment. Carter,
Like 7.
7. Gabe and Jordan.
Mhm.
That's 9. And then in production,
10,
Ruben,
12, 13,
Paul, Brennan,
14, 15.
New Maddie. Is that 13?
Yes.
And then me and
Yeah.
Jason. So 15.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah.
Because my count was 15.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So 15. It takes a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, 15. We only have 15 of us. So to have 4 people gone at a show takes a lot of people away.
Yeah, luckily Nova, it's just Jason and I.
Yeah.
So that's not.
And that's
Too
because the only reason it's just the 2 is because we don't have a booth. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious to see what the new venue looks like this year because I have not been to this venue before. I've been to Nova before, but it was 3 or 4 years ago when they were at their old venue. Great show though. It's got a good atmosphere, or it did.
Yeah, it's still really just a tournament with some small side events.
Well, the funny thing is, those kinds of shows is funny enough. I don't really view them as tournaments. I view them as more of like a painting show, at least from my perspective. Because a lot of the people that I interact with are more on the painting side than at least if I were to go as an attendee.
Go Sue. Hello.
What's up, Gosu?
Mm-hmm.
Go Sue. What's up, hobby homie? Homie that be hobbying.
Madison, Wisconsin.
What about it?
That's where, so Chuck and Jade were saying that we should go to Gamehole Con. And that's why I was talking about all the shows and being gone and stuff. And that one's in Madison.
Yeah, I feel like we sponsor it, don't we?
I don't know.
I feel like we sponsored it in the past. It sounds very familiar.
Welding Guy just gifted 5 subs.
Oh my goodness. Welding guy.
Thank you.
Building guy, thank you so much.
You're awesome. Thank you. Congratulations to all the giftees.
Agusaku, Warpig, Slom, Two-Face, Yaretz, Tony. Oh, and Cruise Control. Like, it says 5, but that's only 4. T. Schmidt, I'm sure someone in chat can help you with that one. We don't have children. So, I don't know.
What's that?
T. Schmidt was asking how old would be a good age for kids at shows, at cons.
We see a lot of younger kids. I think that, from the people I've talked to about it, it's really just how well do the kids travel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and how well will they stand if you're wanting to go and spend time in a specific booth? If there's not anything for them to do, are they gonna,
I think if your child is involved in gaming and you're going to game, that's probably a pretty safe bet because it's something that's going to keep them entertained.
Mm-hmm.
As long as gaming keeps them entertained for long periods of time,
I think that's the big thing.
Yeah,
right?
There's a lot of cool stuff for kids to look at, but what's their attention span?
right.
Yeah.
Because you as an adult are going to want to look at it for days. They may be like me at the grocery store and be ready to get out as quick as possible.
Yeah, they might be like, "This is a cool idea. I want to go," and then when they get here, they're like,
Yeah,
"When
can we go
when
home?
Yeah.
Wad, I'm gonna go with this question that you're asking is about the children. He said, "Will they fit in the overhead compartment if you're flying?"
No. You probably should not put a child in the overhead compartment.
Sorry, is that that's your determining factor? Is if they can fit in the overhead compartment, they're
Then they're
probably
good to
too
go.
young. They're too young.
Yeah.
If they're too big for the overhead compartment, maybe they're old enough. That seems like a solid way to make that decision.
Seems like a scary way to make that
Is the
decision.
reason you don't go to Origins is because it's too small, or because Reaper has such a hold on paint and take and sales? Just curious. No, Origins is a big Gamma thing, and so Gamma keeps pushing us to. It really is like Jen said. It's more that to mobilize Monument Hobbies to get to a show, it has to do a couple of things. Either we support it like we're doing Nova this year, where we're treating it like a learning experience. We want to go learn about Nova, learn about the crowd. We come with a full booth. We come with a big 20-foot bar experience, and it costs a lot. So it has to, have a certain amount of I want to say earning potential attached to it, but I don't, it's not all sales. But we have to be able to kind of structure it to fit with what's going to happen in the sales department. And so we're going to learn this year with Nova. We're sponsoring the Capital Palette in a big way. Cash prizes we're offering to the winners, as well as all the way down. I think we have 18 gift certificate prizes, and then the two top
18,
players
yeah.
get $1,500 a piece. So we're sponsoring that entirety of the prize pool there. And then the painting classes with all of our paint in them, and we'll be giving away basically free shipping tickets at Nova, so that you can order whatever you want from the website, and you'll get as close to free shipping as we can offer for domestic. And we're going to test that out and see how that works, because then we don't have to mobilize as many people and still have a great experience. Plus, it lets us sometimes, we want to be able to integrate more and not just sit at a till and do sales. And Nova's one of those, because like Jordan said, it's more of an experience where we can sit and talk to artists and paint and get feedback. And that's tougher, because in order to do that at something like Adepticon, we have to take even more people, right?
Yeah, because we still have to have people run the booth.
Yeah, because people still have to be in the booth, because it's a huge presence at our booth.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that we have to take into account, and we're still small, people-wise. For a company that puts out as much paint and has such a presence, we are still, like Jen just counted out, 15 people.
Yeah, it's
So,
very, very small.
yeah, we do the work of companies that have over triple the amount of people that we have. So that is tough to navigate sometimes. It's like, we can't just send 10 people to a show.
Yeah.
But Origins is one we're looking at.
Can we talk about how cool our staff is? Our staff is awesome. I love every single one of the people that work
We
here. They're
do.
great.
We have a really, really great team.
Yeah, our team
Yeah.
is awesome.
And Painting Duff says, I run all the mini painting events at Origins. Reaper doesn't have any hold on any of it. They've donated to Paint and Take in the past, and we use what is donated this year. Elric's dropped off 2 full sets of their paint. Whose paint? And thousands
Elric
of the
has
resin
paint?
bases. No one officially owns or influences Paint and Take, but I'd be willing to swap it all for Pro without hesitation. Zena Finneck, what's going on? And hey, Duff.
What up? What
Despon
up?
says, I'll relocate to work for you.
I did.
We're I guess, I don't know how to call it. I don't know that it's easy to just say we're old-fashioned like that, but we look at hiring in a little bit of a different way, because we don't want to just bloat to put people in positions. We want to make sure that as a company we can commit back to the people that work here to always have a job for them as long as they want to work here. And that's hard to do if you increase your employee size just to say, hey, we employ 50 people. It's great to employ 50 people, but not if you have to lay 20 of them off.
Yeah.
So we run a very tight ship.
Very.
We grow slowly, I
Yeah.
guess is the thing.
Yep. And Despon, aren't you Canadian?
That makes it way more complicated.
Does that mean we have to get like a entrance visa? And
That sounds like a lot of work.
Jen's like, I don't want to do this. Sorry, all you Canadian friends out there. It's not happening right now.
We know there's lots of great game stores that carry our products in Canada.
That's true. It was great when I get messages from people. They're like, hey, is there anywhere I can buy this stuff in Canada? Because shipping, it sucks.
All over the place.
And I'm like, there's all sorts of places up there you can get our stuff. Conveniently found through the
Maybe
store
we need
finder.
to do some kind of post or email blast about our store finder.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do get those questions fairly often.
Because every time I see a box leave this facility going somewhere out of the country,
You cringe a little bit.
I do cringe a little bit.
It's like,
It's so funny too, because you know Alex does minis, right?
Yeah.
He keeps ordering stuff from us direct.
Oh no.
I'm like, what are you doing? Because he's in Canada.
Yeah. Don't let him get a go bag. It's the fees on that.
You say don't let him get a go bag?
Don't let him buy a go bag from
Don't let
us
him get a
because
go bag.
the fees when it gets there are very
it's
expensive.
over the border customs fees.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the hidden stuff that we don't know
that
about.
we don't
especially
we don't
the
have we
UPS.
don't have
They-
any idea what that stuff
Yeah, they just
is.
get slammed with it.
And
Yeah,
it
it's
sounds
silly.
like it's variable, like it changes.
Depends on whatever
So.
the UPS driver wants.
Yeah. Yards Tony wants to know if we have any openings for engineers turned product managers that specialize in DoD acquisitions of unmanned programs. I'll stop eating the paint.
That was
That-
a whole bunch of words in
that
order
all
that don't
sounded
make any
made
sense
up,
to me, so I don't know.
So we probably do have an opening.
How's Percival coming along?
You just have to agree to a lobotomy after hire and then make great commercials as a zombie of the crew. I mean, that's only a few of them.
We don't talk about that part.
Well,
of the
that was
crew.
Liam, and he left. He doesn't work here anymore.
Such a
So,
shame. I liked Liam.
He
Liam
went.
was a good
he,
guy.
He's still a good guy.
No, he
goes
is,
to
and,
school.
and he'll come back. Yeah,
come
he just
back.
he went to school. But he was one of our zombies.
Oh, was he actually a zombie in one of the?
He was in one. Yeah, he was.
That's amazing. I missed my one chance to be in one of our things.
Yeah, you were gone that day.
I was very sick. I was very, very sick. It is good that I did not show up to work that day.
You're in all the other videos.
That's true. I did a funny thing for this one, but it's not in it.
It wasn't for the commercial.
Oh, it wasn't? Oh,
Mm-mm.
okay.
We were just taking advantage of the fact that we had the
The
green
setup.
screen. So we
Got
were
it.
shooting other stuff.
Oh, I know what it's for now. Okay. I remember you told me this.
Jason is the paint color scientist. Yes, very much so. Yeah, I feel like if you work around all the paint, you don't have any interest in eating it.
Gross.
Yeah. That was like my friend, when we were in high school, worked at a cookie, I think it was like the original cookie company or something about,
Sure.
at the mall.
Yeah, sure.
And she couldn't eat cookies. Like, too many
Because it
cookies.
was around it all the time.
Yeah.
You smelled cookies cooking,
Exactly.
baking, and all that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I would
Exactly.
expect, like, if you were, if like working at a pizza joint or
Yeah.
Italian restaurant or Mexican
Yep.
food,
Yeah.
eventually you get sick of eating it.
Yes.
You know?
Exactly.
My roommate in
Sorry,
Tacoma. Oh, sorry.
No, continue. I just have to go back and look for a question because
Oh, okay.
you guys were talking about something and then I missed it and now I need to go back to it. Go ahead.
My roommate in Tacoma used to work for a pizza joint. He used to work for a round table, and he was just like, "It's not that I don't like pizza, it's that I can't be around it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, it's too much.
Yeah. That seems right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We had a question earlier from Chuck the Mead Man. Jason, I just cleaned my commonly used brush and noticed the synthetic tip curl you mentioned earlier. Is there a way to reverse this?
Nah. You'll hear people say dip it in boiling water and straighten it out, but it's plastic, so it gets a memory, so it'll just go back the way it was. You don't save it any time. But depending on how bad your curl is, like I paint with brushes that are curled, and it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it, is the biggest thing I can say. And people are like, well, I'll be grumble. I'm like, legit, who cares?
This one's got a little bit of curl on it, and I'm still using it.
I don't even look at that and think
That
that's
doesn't
curl,
even look curled to me.
Yeah.
right?
It-
As a brush person, there's no curl. Curl to me is like when it has a noticeable hook that's sizable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
no,
it doesn't have
there's-
something, I mean, because if you look at any brush, right, mine, I've been beating the crap out, so I still have a lot of like, there's a half length hair right there.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of a curl on the tip of the brush, but it's really not bad at all. And
Nah,
I just
it
use
doesn't.
It's fine.
It doesn't even matter. I mean,
Yeah.
even like bigger brushes, right? Obviously, the more bristles you have, the less problem you'll have with it. It's harder to bend a whole big stack of bristles, but I guess you could see like it has just a little whoop. But that's not. I mean, that's the tip of the brush. Who cares?
Yeah, there's
Paint
not
more, worry less.
not a
Paint
way
more
to
with
reverse it as much as you can prevent it or prolong it from happening by doing all the stuff that Jason was talking about earlier, like
Give him a
rotating
cup.
the brush, using a little
I'll
bit
just
of
give
a
you a
lighter touch when you
What do you
paint,
think, sir?
and then regular cleaning is very important as well. And if you use brush goop and you clean your synthetics after every time you use them, you can reshape them and it will kind of stiffen them up a little bit to help it remember that point.
Sorry, my glazed wash is almost empty, so the
Making clacking
agitator-
out.
very
Little
loud.
ASMR.
Yeah.
some agitator ASMR.
Yard Study said, I like how the anecdote is working around the food makes you not want to eat said food. By the transitive property, paint is food. No, that's what I was saying, is that people here
that's not how
don't
that
eat the
works.
paint because they work with it all day and it's not at all desirable. So their brains stay sane and they know not to eat paint because paint is not food.
Paint is not food.
Paint is not food. Not edible.
Well, Despon, you've got time because we don't have any brushes right now. Although there might be stores in Canada that do. So
Yeah, you know what? A lot of our retailers
lot of
have
our
brushes.
retail
We don't
partners
have
have-
brushes because we send them all to our retailers.
yeah.
So. Mo, you need to settle down there, buddy. Settle down there, buddy. Oh yeah, baby, rattle that sexy bottle. This is not your late night Twitch channel.
They have those.
You're welcome to donate to us like you do on that channel.
But
you're
we-
not
Oh,
gonna
the
get
Uncle
same
Adam set
return.
is like
For your bucks.
perfect.
Huh?
The Uncle Despon said that his local store has the Uncle Adam set. That's the best set to start with if you
Oh,
want to
it's
try
amazing.
synthetics. It's got
It's
the
every
best
brush
sizes.
I use. It should be
0024.
called. It should be called the Old Man
Jason's.
Jason set. Instead, it's the Old Man Adam set.
Mo said he'll be waiting for you on your OnlyFans show.
That's what I figured.
Yep, this stuff is magic.
Still enjoying it. You're going hog wild over there with it.
I'm just trying it out. I'm getting a good feel for it. You want somebody to test this stuff out? You let me know. I will test like crazy.
Despon said I bought some Raphael 8404 and one had a bunch of strays. Sables will, because they're just a little bit more delicate. It's like human hair and how you can, it's very strong, but it also is very not strong.
It's
So in
strong, but
sables,
not.
especially if you do anything like on the edges, it'll break the hairs for sure. Yeah, Gosu, that's what this is. That's what it is. That's why everyone was so excited about it. That's what you missed.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
So you saw me quietly over here mix some royal purple, glaze wash medium, water, and now we're going back over the armor and getting the dark reflective spots, getting in real close and punching in some of that purple. Right, you can see here at the.
What is what, Zeno? Are you asking about what Jordan's using?
Can't believe it's not oil wash.
Can't believe it's not oil wash.
You can see how immediately the purple gives another dimension of depth to that metal we added the bright yellow green. We glazed in across the tops, the more warm, reflective areas. Now we're doing the royal purple that we used as a base for the gold in the low spots.
Hi, Bug King.
Hello, hello, hello. I am in love with this stuff. Hey.
Good stuff.
But yeah, I can't believe it's not oil wash is a product that's currently in development.
Yes.
They're testing it out. Both of them were testing it out today. I can accept that, Bug. I spend enough time with them that I can somewhat agree.
You can somewhat agree? But what are you somewhat agreeing with?
Nothing, don't worry.
Jen.
Nothing, don't worry. That's a
Jen.
That's a Jenism right there. Nothing. Don't you worry your pretty little head about it.
Is it a paint retarder? No, I don't think so. Is the not oil wash?
What'd you
not
just
really
call
an
me?
oil wash?
It's a paint that has a really, really long open time.
Yes, you could use it as a retarder. That's what it's doing.
Yes.
Right? It's taking paint and retarding the drying time. So definitely.
I'm like looking around in my
But that, I mean, you're not going to go get like a drying retarder for acrylic paints as a medium that lets you have an open time of 15 minutes and not just be all drying retarders, still give you pigmentation, right? Because a drying retarder is just a medium. It's going to reduce the pigmentation, whereas what we just did was give us tremendous amounts of pigmentation in the recesses, right? I used it as a panel wash almost, like you would with a tank. Baby J's over there using it as a overall filter, like on the Stormtroopers. It looks great. There you go. Royal purple in the shadows, very thin. Again, using the glazed wash medium. Gives us a lot of depth to the metal instantaneously.
That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Change the whole look.
Yeah.
Right?
Can you reactivate it once it's on there, or once it dries, it's on there?
I mean, it's an acrylic, so once it's dry, it's on there. But it has a long time where you can reactivate it with a wet brush. So you can move stuff around, you can get down into crevices where you can tell it's still wet and built up and move it around in there. But it's meant to be able to give you the working time that allows you to get creative with your weathering, right? If you were you here? If not, go back and watch today's show when the VOD is up. And you'll get a really good example of what we're talking about, because I took this whole model, right? This model was painted like this, right? And in a matter of minutes, I glopped the whole model with this medium mixed with warm brown and black transparent just to get me a dark warm brown color. It's still active. I could still put this on another model, right? Baby J's over there doing it right now. You can put that on a model, but then I put it all over it, used the makeup sponge to take it off, subtract it, and then was able to dry brush it with heavy warm white, all in a matter of 20 minutes, right?
Bug King,
So
you need
good.
to teach him how to order a pizza.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, you can sit here and fiddle with it and not rub it off. I mean, if I rub on it, nothing's going to happen. So it gives you all the benefit, right? But none of the hassle of having to wait on it. And because it's an acrylic, you can paint over the top of it with other colors and not move it, which is really, really nice.
Oh, I just had a really interesting idea.
Oh yeah, that purple in the shadow right there worked great.
I wonder if you could do, like, mix up with some, like, burnt sienna or something like that, and make, like, a really cool, like, rust filter for, like, doing, like, the quick rust effects that we were doing with, like, the wash, but something a little bit more punchy.
Jade
Yeah.
and Chuck, have a good night.
See ya!
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for hanging out.
I set my brush down and now it doesn't work. What did I do?
The airbrush?
I
What did
still
you
need
do?
you, airbrush. You cannot quit on me.
What did it do? What did it do? Why it do it?
I love that.
Xenophonetic said, so you're going to sell it just as an additive, not as a wash with pigment included?
We're looking at that right now. We are going to look at offering both, like we do with our normal washes. If all goes well with the testing, then we'll go ahead and offer it probably in 2 or 3, maybe 4 general colors. I can see again, like our normal washes, I can see a blackish brown, like a warm brown, possibly like a camo greenish. But yeah, with us that a lot of what we like to do. Did we lose pressure? We have pressure off.
Oh, I turned it off. I didn't know you were going to be airbrushing. Sorry. I will turn it back on.
I didn't do it.
I'm literally airbrushing.
I turned it off a while ago. Look, I was preemptively turning it off so I didn't forget.
I've literally been airbrushing over here this whole time.
Yeah, with whatever was left.
I think it was whatever was left in the tank.
Oh my god. Chat. See what I have to deal with? This is my life.
Seems like you got a pretty good life.
Just saw death in Jason's eyes. Oh, you guys want to hear something terrible?
No.
No?
You guys already know.
Oh.
I'm talking to everybody else.
Oh, okay.
The AC in my car stopped working
Oh yeah.
today.
That sucks.
Terrible.
She sends me a note in chat. See, my AC doesn't work. I was like, did you turn it off and turn it back on?
It did.
Which I was serious about, but then I thought about it after I wrote it. I go, oh, I bet she thinks I'm joking. Or
No, I really did. I mean, because the entire car got turned off, but I was pushing all the buttons to make sure that I didn't turn off the cooling
something important,
part.
right?
Yeah.
Because it seems like it would be very easy to not have the computer register correctly when you start your car. So the AC compressor didn't whatever, but not the case.
Twice, both ways. It
Not
wasn't
the
that
case.
bad. I went home at lunch to let the dog out, and we only live like a mile and a half away. So at first I thought it just was that hot and
In
it
Arizona,
wasn't
congrats on being
cooling
alive.
off. Yeah. I thought that, just because it's such a short distance that it just wasn't cooling off. But no, it's really
Yeah, Tim had
just
his go out, and he's in humidity.
warmish air.
The problem here, chat, don't get all sympathetic. She's going to want like a newer car.
No, I don't need
She
a new
drives
car.
like a 1967 Buick Wildcat that has been like owned by 57 different people. So don't go giving her ideas. She's going to want a new car. We're trying to keep Jen in hoopty mode.
Hoopty mode. Oh my gosh.
Smell of burning?
Nothing burned.
I think
Nothing
she just
burning.
has a leak.
Yeah. It
Carter,
blows,
my
it blows
brother-in-law
air.
looked it up real quick and said that they are notorious for air conditioning products. You got a Subaru.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Crosstrek.
Huh?
Crosstrek.
Crosstrek.
This stuff is so good.
No, the air blows out, it just doesn't cool. So.
Yeah, fan's working. Compressor's probably kicking on. It's probably just out. Leak. Probably a bad seal. Something in the way that they do their hoses or something, or leaky regulator.
I'd have to remember, though, that I have to drop it off in the morning.
7:30, you said,
I know,
right?
yes. I'm afraid I'm going to forget.
Who's watching Ashoka tonight? Oh, is the first episode tonight?
first
Is
two
it
episodes.
is it episodic, or are they releasing like half and half, or what are they doing?
It's episodic. They're releasing the first 2 episodes tonight.
The first what?
2 episodes.
2 episodes. Okay, so you get like 2 at a time.
Yep.
I think
Well, they get 2 for the start, and then they're going to go be 1 episode.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, because I was gonna say I think that what's his nuts show was.
Oh man, this even makes this like non-metallic metal look even better too.
Show us. Oh heck yeah! What'd you do? Just black?
No, so this is this like muddy.
Oh, it's like black brown almost.
Yeah. I mean, it's black transparent.
Both transparent, right?
Yeah. It's brown transparent, black transparent, and then I put a couple of dots of actual coal black in it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Just to give it a little bit more opacity.
So the funny thing about that, Tony, is that summer is not almost over. Not in Arizona. But the good thing is that today, it was, when I was driving, it was only like 98 degrees. So I had both windows down and the air coming through.
And you could live.
Actually felt cooler than the air that was blowing in my face from the vents.
You just saw the billboard in New York? What are you talking about?
For that show, I think.
Oh, for Ashoka. Surprised that Jason's just not telling you to just open the window. I did that already. He has an old enough hoopty, it has a vent window still. And she's still bitching. Jeez. Kids these days. I might try this. I use tons of oil washes and enamel weathering products to use monument paints and not have it be stinky. Gets you excited. Yeah, I mean, the whole goal is I've always wished there was a way to do this that didn't require caustic materials to make it happen, you know? And I think, and I hope that if we release this product, that people will think the same, that they're like, oh my gosh, here's a medium that I can do this with, and boom, you know, you can make any color you want because it's just a medium, you know? I mean, with oil washes, you can do the same thing. So I think it takes all the best parts of that, and it's, so long as you're not trying to work with your paint hours later, I think it's going to hit the spot. And for miniatures, you know, when you're doing even a squad, you know, you're not really trying to spend that much time on this guy, you know? It gets the job done quick, really nice down and dirty weathering. Because it's acrylic, like I said, once this dries like it is, you can then go back over it with a black wash. You know, you can do washes, you can do speed paints over the top of it. If you just want to get it to where it does your panel lining for you, you can do that at any time. You don't have to worry about doing it at the end of the process like you have to with oil washes, and then varnish after that, because you can't do a lot over oil washes. Oil has to happen at the end of the project. Because if you do anything over the top of the oils other than just like pastel weathering or weathering pigments over the top of it, you move the oil again. Right? Especially if it's something that has a liquid to it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You can get beading of the paint that you put on top. You can have all sorts of problems. Not here, because it's just acrylics. You paint over the top of it, who cares? It just acts like everything else. So. 98 isn't that bad. When you don't have AC, 98 sucks. Especially in a car that's kind of like just a greenhouse effect, because the sunlight here is just beaming through the glass on you, killing you like an ant under a microscope or a eyeglass.
I have a magnifying glass, yeah. I have a tan line from my watch, and I don't go outside. That's from being in the car.
I don't go outside.
It's 5 o'clock, 5:01.
It starts on the 23rd. Oh, it doesn't start today?
No, it starts on the 22nd, I'm pretty sure. I saw a thing for it yesterday that said tomorrow.
Oh, they changed
Tomorrow,
it. They're
meaning
saying.
today.
Xenophonics saying they changed it. You remember 111 in Austin? Yeah. Being plus 100 in Texas hurt because of the humidity, right? It was like you could just see steam everywhere in the morning. You know, it's like, ugh. Felt like you swimming. Houston, even worse. New Orleans, even worse.
Despon, the official time is now, but it always will depend on these two.
What we're
and
doing,
how
how we're
long they
feeling.
want to paint.
I have
Gotta be quitting time because he's got a hot date tonight.
Oh, that's
a lot
right.
of driving to do, and I'm not excited about it.
They're not getting you? They're not picking you up?
No,
Or you're
they don't.
taking everybody?
No, I'm going to Paul's place,
Which is far away.
it's like half an hour away, but then it's another half an hour
Past his?
past his to
Okay,
the place.
but same direction, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's not bad.
So I don't have to drive the
Oh,
whole way.
man, there was another gold thing right there that I missed. I'm an idiot.
All right. Are you gonna
Purple
keep
was the
going?
right choice.
Thank you, Gosu. Are you gonna keep going? Or what?
No, I'm done.
Okay, cool.
We're done.
I'm getting the links.
It was 97 Minnesota, also hard.
Ooh, yeah.
Also
Minnesota
hard.
humid too. Not
I have
fun.
spent my whole life wishing I didn't have to live in humidity. When I finally made it to California, California was okay.
Yeah.
Then you went to I went to Colorado eventually, and Colorado was like, it's too dry here. In the middle of the night, you would wake up everything itching because you had no moisture in your body. And then you come to Arizona, and it's like a nice perfection in dry climate.
Wait.
I get why they send so many people here to die. Because if you're going to live out the remainder of your years, it's like the elephant graveyard. It's like, go to Arizona. It's hot, but it feels better than everywhere else. You know?
That's true.
Lumberjack Tim, you're going to play D&D tonight? Awesome. Indianapolis got some kind of heat advisory today. Panic Bomb, you're definitely welcome. Thanks for hanging out, watching some paint dry. We did get to play around. Baby J looks like he's not going to stop. He's going to continue to play around with all of the not oil wash, our acrylic-based solution for doing subtractive weathering. I mean, we're both putting. I did test models, admittedly.
I mean, I'm.
He's literally throwing it on some of his models he really likes, so that's awesome.
You
If
know
that's
me,
not a
I repaint
testament
everything
to how
anyways.
good the product is, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I'm like,
That's
I
true.
was not gonna put it on Percy.
What?
Well, that's not really the right model to put it on.
Not trying to put it on Percival.
These I would have done some sort of like
Something on
finishing
anyway.
wash too. Anyway,
I think it looks great.
Yeah, I think this particular thing, like, I kind of hated the color that I had before because it wasn't quite green enough or gritty enough.
I think that did a number on it, man. And not only did it
Yeah.
give you the weathering on all of the dreadnoughts are perfect because like they have very few rivets, but they need a little help there, and then they just need a gritty like carapace, and that
Yep.
I think that did perfect.
Oh, it looks so good,
The green is
especially
amazing.
like on here. It gives this like nice.
The metal on the guns is great. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. It's great.
So-
It's an oily, stained feel without being too over the top.
Yep. So
Yeah,
I'm,
and
I'm
the
in
nice
love
thing
with
is being able to control it, mix it with as much pigment as you need, just like the
Right.
glaze wash, and you can layer it on multiple times if you need. I think you guys and gals are really going to love it when you get your hands on it. So I'm super stoked. Stoked it worked out. Stoked on this model. It's my favorite model ever. So I don't know if I've told anybody that, but it's my favorite model.
I've never heard it before in
No,
my
it
life.
was
It's my
brand
favorite
new.
model. I don't want to finish him because then what am I going to do? I need to do a custom diorama
Mhm.
where I put him on a pile of bodies, like just cute Percival, and then a pile of corpses. So I need somebody to 3D print me a corpse pile on like a 75mm base with just a pile of corpses,
Hey, I got one for you right
and then boop, put him right on top. Oh, it's the Horus one.
That's like actually pretty much it.
Cause like Percival could sit on the bone pile. Oh my god. Oh my god. Except that we don't have the part.
Well, you can fill that in and put like some thing on there.
Something on
We
there.
had the back part for it. I just knocked it off.
Oh
We ha-
my.
We have.
Then the
printers
problem is
here.
there's like
Like,
solar
He doesn't need someone to
auxilia,
print
Oh, you can
anything
just- you
for
can
him.
Space Marine
You can
shoulder
get all
pads.
that
I ain't
off
trying to
him.
do work. Somebody can 3D. I bet there's a 3D print file out there of a corpse pile, like a big pile of corpses.
Oh, I'm sure there's.
that we can get,
Just chasing the House of 1,000 Corpses.
and then yeah, we can figure something out. That doesn't
Someone
require
give
that
Baby
much
J a
work.
raise. Talk to them. I ain't in charge of that.
It's not perfect though. It has sci-fi stuff on it, which is a little too out of control.
Remember, it's perfect for Gosu because Gosu's in love with the heresy stuff. As am I.
Yeah, heretics.
Hey.
Galatian, everyone, thanks for hanging out, watching some paint dry. Remember, we do this 5 days a week. If you're new here, pound that follow button. We do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, like tomorrow coming up, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Pacific, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays like today, 2 p.m. Pacific, that later time, till 5 p.m., so you get us for an hour longer as well. Gives you 5 chances a week to catch up with us. We do this all the time. So we talk paint, we talk techniques, we talk products, we talk books and nerd
Food.
stuff and all sorts of crazy.
Food pretty much every day
Food.
now.
Food, pretty much every
So
day.
exciting.
Wait till
So-
you guys get back to your chat.
Oh no, was there a food conversation?
Wait until restaurant week.
Well, yes, but specifically, you guys wait till you get back to your chat.
Oh my god.
To our
So,
chat? Okay.
Yeah.
So thanks for hanging out with us. Make sure to check all the links that Jen threw up in there, especially the Discord. We have a wonderful community of over 3,000 artists just like yourselves. Great inspiration happening over there. Great questions being answered all the time. Good conversations. Great place to just make new friends and enjoy the hobby for what it is. No pressures at all. And then the store link where you can catch up with us on all of the products that we manufacture. It's what keeps us going and able to do these streams. So please give us a chance next time you're looking for some hobby supplies. I think you might like what you find. And with that, stick around. We're going to find somebody to raid to show some love in the channel we wind up in, and we will catch you on the flip side. We'll be back tomorrow. Adios, gang. Have a great night.
Audio.